The Fast Life podcast is brought to you by Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. I just got my Carbon Ghost Bandit in the mail today, Monday morning, and I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to spending thousands of miles with this thing. You can check out this helmet and many others at simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com. From the Ghost Bandit, the I'm fucking this up. They got everything on their website. Check it out. Visors, helmets, all the options, the colorways, the finishes, they all have them right there. And if you're here in Texas or in the surrounding areas, Simpson's Mother Store in New Braunfels, Texas is having their annual open house car and bike show Saturday, October 19th from 10 to 3 p.m. In addition, I've had a lot of people ask us about this deal. We're doing a little camping deal there at Waco Springs. And basically, I'm not going to post it on social media or anything. I'm just going to leave it on this podcast. It's open to everybody. That was the biggest question. If you want to come, right? But we're going to be showing up there Thursday evening. I think me and a couple of guys are planning to do a Twisted Sisters ride that Friday morning. And then, of course, just partying Friday night, going to the party at Simpson's Saturday, and, just camping and having a good time and kind of winding down this year. So if you want to come out, feel free to. You don't have to ask you don't have to have a personal invite. It's open to anybody. We're camping. We're having a good time. Just show up and have fun. I want to thank Lex and Moto for, sending me out some new products. I'm really looking forward to testing out the new FT4 Pro, the wireless X Grip charge, the tank bag wireless charger, and the GT8. Really looking forward to seeing what all these things are about. Once we finally got into doing the whole headset thing, it's really opened up the different world of riding for me. You know what I mean? I've never really been a very much of a listener to music when I ride, unless I was drunk on my big wheel bagger, but that's a different day. Nowadays, it's like, it feels cool to be able to jump on these things, have these headsets, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the differences between the Pro and the current FT4 model, and you're definitely going to hear it. I'm going to tell you if it's worth the buy or not. I think I'm supposed to tell you it's worth the buy, but anyway, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about. And the GT8 is another one that I'm really looking forward to seeing what that one's all about. So stay tuned for all that kind of info. I should have these new products in the shop this week, and I'm going to be rocking them on my new Carbon Ghost Bandit from Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. Check out Lex and Moto on Instagram, and check out lexandmotorcycle.com and use Fast Life at checkout and save yourself 15% off. You can do that any time of the day, so check them out and rock that shit. John Jessup's Team Dream Rides is your hub in NorCal for bike sales, builds, maintenance, and in-house dyno tuning. It's in Stockton, California, and I know a lot of you listeners love John Jessup and all the shit that he's got going on up there. So if you can't really swing taking your bike to get an oil change or a tune-up or whatever, then you can always order tons and tons of badass parts off his website, teamdreamrides.com. They're bringing new products regularly and are now offering 100 days same as cash financing on all products. My wife's calling me. All you need is a job and a bank account. And don't forget to use offer code FASTLIFE for 10% off and give John and the team a follow at DreamRideJohn on Instagram. Kevin and his team at Big Bear Performance have been investing their product line into parts that make your Harley perform, feel, and look amazing. Along with being the industry leader in Olin suspension, sales, service, and tuning, check out BigBearPerformance.com, and you can always give Kevin a call at 909-479-7788 and get the info and answers for your motorcycle upgrades. You can also give them a follow at Big Bear Choppers on Instagram. Paint Huffer Metal Flake is the industry standard when it comes to flake and one of the key elements in helping your paint job stand out. Brian is constantly on the grind, pushing boundaries and developing new products. Check out painthuffer.com and use FastLife at checkout for 10% off. Follow Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and stay up to date on the product releases and the works of art produced by many artists from around the globe. ThunderMax is a industry award-winning performance ECM designed specifically for EFI-equipped Harley-Davidson motorcycles. This highly advanced standalone tuning system utilizes proprietary auto-tune technology with wideband oxygen sensors to deliver unmatched performance and rideability. ThunderMax comes with 100% ready to install with no wire cutting or splicing required. Simply replace the factory ECM and oxygen sensors, load a map, and enjoy the performance. If you're on a 17 and up touring bike, you should really look into the oil cooler fan, which I personally run on my bike. It's a small price for a noticeable difference in operating temperatures on the big-ass M8 motors. Installs in under 20 minutes and pairs right up with the ThunderMax ECM. Check this product and many other products out at shoptmax.com and always on ThunderMax EFI on Instagram. Check them out. What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Really glad to be back here again. I'm really looking forward to this month of October and dropping all these podcasts on you guys. I really appreciate all the sharing and stuff on social media to help raise awareness to the podcast. So if you guys can continue to do that, I would very much appreciate that. Also, thank you to all the new Patreon supporters that have been flooding in. I really appreciate that, guys, and I really hope to show you guys what that money is going to do for this podcast and how it's going to bring you more content and everything. So thank you. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon, you can always go to our website, fastlifegarage.com. Right on the front page, there's a link. Click it. Donate whatever you feel comfortable with, and it just automatically drafts from you monthly. So it's an easy thing to do to help out and grow this podcast. Today's episode, we're doing it with Matt, who is the owner of the Rebel Reaper Clothing. Been following these guys for a while, man, and he had a podcast that he was doing for a while, and I really dug it. And I think we talked a little bit about it in the podcast that he should continue to do it. And either way, they make some rad clothes, and I'm really excited to bring him on here. And here he is, Matt, Rebel Reaper.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
We're rolling, dude.
All right.
Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for being here, man.
Dude. So, Matt, Rebel Reaper Clothing, man.
Yes,
Fucking
sir.
awesome, dude.
Thanks for coming in.
How is it being a t-shirt mogul? Is it a t-shirt mogul, or would you say like it's just an apparel mogul?
Well, I don't know, man. Like a lot of people, it's weird. You say, hey, I sell t-shirts for a living. Yeah. When I try to explain that to someone who's a friend, they ask me, hey, what do you do for a living? Some random person I don't know. Oh, fuck, I sell t-shirts,
Could it be jokingly like the dude that's still in your town trying to rap on SoundCloud or something?
Pretty much, yeah. Because anyone that says that, they're like, yeah, I'm starting a new album, check me out. Or, I sell t-shirts. There's so many brands out there.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing is I had to realize when I started the brand is, fuck, man, there's so many apparel brands out there. Mm-hmm. When I first started, man, I didn't know what direction I really wanted to take it.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people really understand, and we'll go straight into it, man, is before Rebel Reaper even began, mm-hmm. before I even knew what the fuck it was, I still think we're growing. We still have a lot more work to do. Been around since 2016. But prior to even starting Rebel Reaper and making the first t-shirt, I had 4 apparel brands before this one.
Yeah.
Those 4 failed. For various reasons, either people just weren't buying the shit, I didn't know what I was doing, the design sucked.
What was like the names? Like what was your kind of like your inspiration to create
behind this? Okay, so they all kind of had some relevance, right? Uh-huh. A lot of my history growing up has to do with tattoo culture, mm-hmm. More so in the car scene than motorcycles. Mm-hmm. If you look at the page today, all you see is motorcycle. I love my motorcycles, man. We'll get into the story of how I got into those, later. But most of my background, like you, I know you are familiar with tuners. You grew up in that scene. Yeah. Fast and Furious type shit. When that movie came around, that's when things really started picking up, and I was in my kind of early teens. Mm-hmm. Picked up an old piece of shit 350Z that I got for like $4,000.
Those things used to run though, man.
Yeah, that thing, I ran it to the ground.
The single turbo on those things, or what was
No, it wasn't even. It was just naturally aspirated.
The 350Z. So we're looking like 80s, right?
No, you're talking about like the 340Zs. So like back then, the older Zs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so the 350s.
So you're talking about the newer body style one.
Yeah. So I had like a 2003. Kind of like a turtle shell, like a
Those
slam.
things were sick when they came out, though.
Yeah, man, it was fun. And my first car was actually a 1998 Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Nice.
Just imagine bright orange, Had a fucking dent in the side of it, huge dent. It had 12-inch kickers. I thought it was the coolest fucking car in the world, man. I was cruising around town. We had a little car club at the time, you know, all that bullshit. And then you get a little bit older and you start realizing, okay, well, I have the money now. I'm gonna get something cooler. So I got the 350, and I went up to graded to a STI, like a WRX. Started going out and hanging out with more people in the car scene. I found out that's really what I love to do. I like to meet new people. I like to talk about cars. I could sit here and talk for hours about cars and shit. So I started, you know, that's a little bit of my back history. Yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. You know, throughout the years, I partied a lot. I've done a lot of crazy shit, a lot of shit that I'm not proud of, you know, like we all have. But the older I get, the more I started looking into what's my purpose here. Yeah. You know, why am I here? What, you know, all that kind of shit we all ask ourselves. I'd say like in my mid-20s, I started realizing I'm like, you know what, man, I'm not in this car shit anymore. You know, I got to find something different. I still wrench on cars. I built my own rat rod. We'll talk about in a minute. You know, it's still fun to me, but that's when I moved into motorcycles. So my first motorcycle wasn't a Harley, you know. It was a 1991 Honda CB 750. Yeah. Completely busted to shit. It was $300. I bought it from a guy on Craigslist. I said, you know, it didn't even run. Carbs were completely just trash. Yeah. And I started learning that, you know, I loved carbureted engines, and it was a little bit easier for me to work on. You know, I tore that thing down. I didn't even look up YouTube videos, didn't look up on any forums. I just said, you know what, if I fuck this up, it's only $300, whatever. Yeah. You know? So tore it down, rebuilt the carbs, actually got it to run. That's all I needed. So what I did is, just like anyone would do with a $300 bike, they would just fucking make it into something that they could with the money that they had. You know, I wasn't rich back then. I had nothing. I had a 91 Ford F-150 pickup and this CB 750 piece of shit. So I built it, got it to run, rode it around town. It was fun, turned into like a little bobber, just garage made. And that's when I found out, you know, okay, I really enjoy this. I love just wrenching in the garage. I completely destroyed a garage with the roommate I had at the time. He fucking pissed.
You know, you had referenced you know, Fast and Furious, and I just remember being into cars at that time, and I remember that scene where they pull the car into the garage on the flatbed, and they're looking at it, and then it kind of does like the montage of the parts on the ground, and they're all working on it and doing shit. I'm like, that's like every car guy or every like guy that tinkers dream is just that project and that camaraderie with friends hanging out in the garage doing something together. I mean, that's how like my brand, the Fast Life Garage, that's how we started. Like my first couple bikes that I built that I was like in the limelight for, or whatever the case may be, it was me and my buddy in the garage drinking beer and putting this bike together, you know. And they're like, fuck it, dude, we're going to Cali on Monday. It's Saturday, and there's just a frame right here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and the other thing I wanted to say is, like, you know what was, like, I never really thought about this, but, like, guys that kind of grew up in that car culture and the car clubs and that whole parking lot hanging out, like, that simplicity, like, we didn't need a lot of money to have a great fucking night.
They were simple times,
We could just go to a parking, we can go to a fucking, you know, a goddamn Circle K parking lot or a Walmart parking lot. There's 10 other cars there, and we're just checking it out, talking
like
shit.
2 hours straight, just talking shit. Yeah, exactly. Those were the days, man. Those were a lot of fun. I do miss them a lot. So out here in Arizona, I don't know what it's like out in Texas, but here in Arizona, there was a point, you know, back to the car days, cops were starting to crack down like really hard on people. They were like, man, I'm sick of this Fast and Furious shit. We're gonna start cracking down. We started hearing rumors, you know, everyone's just like, yeah, whatever, they're just gonna, but literally, man, no joke, there was a Philly Birdos on 43rd Ave in Bell. I don't know anyone in Arizona that's gonna be listening to this, they know exactly where I'm talking about. There was a huge parking lot, and then you got this Philly Bees. We all just kind of parked and circled around the Philly Bees about 11 p.m. till about 2 a.m. And long story short, man, we would just do that every weekend. And then one weekend, just like any other, we were just hanging out, shooting the shit, just like you said. Out of nowhere, we just hear car alarms, you know, like sirens coming towards our area, and we're just like, oh shit, are they coming for us? Literally 30 seconds later, they block off every corner. You know what I mean? And I get in the car with my buddy. We dip out the back end side because we knew what area that was.
Yeah.
But they all blocked off the front because they were expecting everyone to leave. So a lot of people got their cars towed. They scared a lot of people, you know, in that
sucks,
scene.
man.
And they literally lost their cars. They didn't do shit, you know? And to me, that was like, we're not out here racing and being a bunch of hooligans and destroying things and causing people to crash. You know, yeah, there was some illegal street racing in the Philly Bees that's on the opposite side of the, the 17 and Deer Valley. A lot of people, if you're listening, they know where that is. So behind that, there was a illegal drag racing that had an industrial area.
Yeah.
So a lot of people did the stupid stuff. They were at that one. But they wanted to crack down pretty much anywhere. Anyone that had a kind of car that looked like, okay, you're a hooligan.
Yeah.
You know, and that judgmental thing towards people. When we're just out here exactly like you were saying, just those guys in the garage hanging with each other with similar like-minded interests.
Yeah, it was always a cool thing, like, you know, hanging out in the garage working the bikes, and you get together and you go to the spot and the meet, and then you see the dudes in the other parts of town and shit like that come out. But yeah, I never really understood the motive. I mean, the amount of people that would die street racing compared to the amount of people that died just from any fucking thing else, it's not even comparable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it, it's illegal and it's potentially could be a massive thing, you know, but I don't fucking know, man. I never understood the whole concept with it, why it was such a hard on for it, you know, like our parents' generation and their parents' generation did the shit. You know what I mean? It's a whole culture of hot rodders and things. And they still do that shit, but they have to do it during the day.
Yeah.
On Sunday at the Sonic or some shit like that. Like
Right.
they can't do just the, hey man, look, we're hanging out in Walmart parking lot. We're not, this parking lot's huge, it's not filled up, but for some reason, because we're taking a corner and we're just sitting here playing some music and talking about our cars, we're criminals. You know what I mean?
That's basically how they were treating people, man. So, you know, that started to die out here, and then that's obviously, and I hopped back into the motorcycle thing, and that's when I got my first bike. So I started seeing a pattern into the whole bike thing. So I flipped that bike, right? Bought it for $300, maybe put $20 into rebuilding the jet in the car, whatever. Sold that thing for $1,000 easily. You know what I mean? What would anyone else do? Hey, yeah, it's a running bike.
Yeah.
Some kid is just young kid just wanted his first bike. So flipped that. I bought actually a CB 900 after that. Same thing, built it, flipped it, turned it into another bobber. And fast forward, you know, a little bit shortly after that, got into a street bike. It was my CB 600, CBR 600, Honda and another Honda, because they're just reliable bikes, you know. And fuck, man, I don't know what I was thinking. At that point, it was a running bike. It was a lot of fun. Did a lot of stupid stuff. You met a lot of cool people. And the thing is every bike and every car I've owned, or every different style bike, I've always met someone new.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing that I always loved about anything with a motor.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you meet, someone's always going to ask you questions about it. And I just had, you know, started making friends in the community and everyone around here, and still friends I talk to who ride street bikes to this day, even though I ride Harleys and I don't mind hopping on a fucking street bike too.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter to me.
I mean, you're skinny enough. I mean, some of us can't do it anymore.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, I saw a big dude on a street bike. It just, you know, hey, man. he was hauling ass though, so he still made it happen.
Yeah, but now that everybody's got phones and cameras, so if you look like a fat weird guy on a bike, on a sport bike going down the road, it's like you're gonna be
2 million views.
You're gonna be a meme real quick. You know what I mean?
But you know, fast forward into that too. My sister, she is got a Yamaha. I think it was a R1, so R1000. She smoked me on the 600. I said, you know, fuck this shit. I can't be smoked by my own sister. You know, so I looked into the Harley, the first Harley I got. It was completely chromed out. It was 883. It's been bored out to a 1200. It was fun. It was like a 98, you know, so older Sportster, you know, nothing great. But I smoked her on that, and I was like, wow, I'm surprised, you know. And she got rid of that bike. She hasn't been riding since then, you know, but she had it for a long while. I don't know where I'm really going with this, man, but you know, when I first started building my Sportster, though, it was a lot of fun, you know. Those things are really versatile.
What got you interested in the Harley thing? Was there kind of a cultural movement that you saw that looked interesting to be a part of, or?
Yeah, no, so obviously when you're into cars and you're into bikes, there's different crowds that you draw towards events. Okay, so long story short, I would always go as a kid to these old classic car shows all the time growing up. That's one thing I forgot to mention. I used to always go to those as a kid. Still up to this day. There's this place called Pavilions down in Scottsdale. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, long story short, so I'm moving into bikes, and my buddy, he's like, you know what, hey dude, there's this event down going on in Lane Splitters. You mentioned Miguel. Shout out to Miguel, by the way. He's the owner of Lane Splitters Garage.
How long has he been there? Like,
I think he's been there for a very long time.
For real?
Yeah. Very nice shop, very humble dude, very respectful, and I remember he was throwing on an event, and there was just a bunch of dudes pulling fucking wheelies and shit. Yeah. And this is before I even knew that this shit was even possible. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people out there like to brag about, you've never seen a Harley, wheelie before. Yeah. Not everyone and their fucking mom has seen the shit. You know what I mean? So when I saw that, this was like a few years ago, I was already working on my second brand, which was called Grind to the Grave. Okay. It's familiar with Rebel Reaper a little bit. Well, fast forward, and I've had a couple brands that have led
Fascinated
up to
with
the
death.
I don't know what I got a Grim Reaper on my arm, dude. I got a coffin on my arm, like all these tattoos, just kind of dark side and shit. And I've always just kind of been into that style. But back into his event, he threw on that event, dude. And I saw these guys doing these long ass fucking burnouts. You see a guy on a street bike pulling a wheelie. That's cool. Yeah. You see a guy pulling up a 900-pound, 600-pound fucking bike just straight up in the air. You're like, whoa, that guy can get smashed.
When I was into skateboards when I was a kid, kind of my early 20s, I was really into skateboarding and shit. And they used to talk about something called style, right? There was like your Rodney Mullen that had this fucking like so technical tricks. It was like mind blowing. But then you had like a Tom Penny. They just had this fucking fluid style to him when he did the same a basic trick, and it just like, how come that dude's not doing that crazy technical trick, but that dude looks like a fucking rock star doing it? And it's the same thing with bikes. It's like there are some people I've seen rock wheelies on sport bikes, and they just have a style to them as how they are, how they do it.
There's a finesse that you have,
You can't tell me like you don't see Jason Momoa riding a fucking chopper looking like all Jason Momoa-y, and it's like, dude, it's kind of a hot dude, man. I can't. It's style, It's the same, me on that chopper with my arms hanging out, my fucking back of my arms flapping in the air. It's not the same sex appeal, dude. Yeah. And so when you see all these kids doing this shit on dynas back in the day, it was like, man, there's a style to it. It's like, yes, this is a Harley, but then there's this style of clothing. There's this style of just our tattoos. Yeah. It just was a much different thing. Instead of looking at a dude with full leathers, doing the same
And that's the thing is I had this misconception about, the old guy, the dentist that rarely ever rode his bike, all that kind of stuff. And obviously me being a younger guy, I'm going to be 31 in November. Yeah. It's just not my style. You know, there's nothing against it. I've met plenty of people who are really cool people that just are that style. That's just what they choose. Yeah. That's why I'm never pushy about the products I sell on people. I'm never, yo, man, you got to try this shit. It's better than fucking anything. Well, kind of, I am a little biased on some of the products that we do because of the work that went into making them. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the culture part of it, I think there was this...
It's fine, yeah. Okay. There's a dog that really wants to play with us, but
I got a husky, and he's just a little excited about new people coming around. But anyway, there's this stigma about just chaps, leathers, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, there's nothing against that kind of stuff, but it's just not my style. Yeah. I'm more of like the vintage, classic, old school style, Levi's and just a regular t-shirt.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that when that style was really in, it's like it was outlawed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
you looked along
biker culture wasn't really accepted the same way it became accepted once those lawyers started writing them. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like that whole, like, 80s and back, it's like, super outlawy kind of like, fuck the squares kind of thing. And then the motorcycle industry was crashing because, they couldn't sell new bikes and shit. So then they marketed it to this different crowd,
That makes sense. It's kind of what they're doing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen some of the new stuff that they're coming out with, and I'm sure you've talked about this with plenty of people on the podcast, and not to beat a dead horse, but I kind of respect what they're doing. Like, part of it looks like, dude, what the fuck were you guys thinking making that shit? It's just not my style. And I think a big majority of the people who are riding now are the younger guys, and they're looking for something cool. And why would I give up my cool bike now that I built for what the fuck is that?
Case in point to that topic is just like when the Softails first came out, we didn't know if we should like it, and everybody's like, well, I want to ride it first.
Yeah.
I mean, they've since then proven to be they handle way better than Dynas. They do great. Motor's great. Like, the bikes are great. They are great. It's just that we were worried. Now, I don't know if I can take the same mindset with like the electric bike, and I still think, like I was just talking with John Shope right before this, and I was like, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. Who am I to say that Harley fucked up? You know what I mean? I don't think that it's right, but next thing you know, all it takes is somebody with some fucking vision to grab any bike and make it cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's all it is.
Yeah.
But
what I don't understand is just like, for example, putting myself in their shoes. If a customer comes up to me and I'm going to come out with bright pink fucking denim jeans, do you really think I'm going to move any of them, at least in the audience that I have right now for my apparel? Fuck no, I'm not. But it's like, I want to listen to my customers. If they're saying, hey, you need to make some black jeans, I'll buy them in a heartbeat. Guess what I'm going to be doing? Yeah. I'm going to be making a lot of jeans with black straight denim, because that's what they want. And I just don't get why they don't take and listen more.
Well, I would say to that point, you get to a different point in a creative process where you almost have to be the person that is starting the trends. Like, there really is brands and there is things in the world that that might take in. I mean, Harley's clearly looked at some things, but their 5-year plan to how, like, if they saw something that got so popular this year, it's 5 years before it can go into production. Yeah. So 5 years ago, dude, like, our industry was way different. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of they're fucked on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of, sometimes at some point it's kind of too late.
Exactly. It's all that. It's just corporate, man. It's almost like you get so big of a business and you're so doing this, but you can't please ground level kind of diehard fans. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean,
the new Lowrider S though looks pretty dope.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
They're trying, but fuck, man, like it's just hard because I guess we're so like cultured now to like be so intertwined with businesses because of how things are on social media now. Like, you don't see Walmart out there doing stories. No. Like fucking whatever Walmart owner, whatever Walton is the one that's owning this shit now. He's not out there in this fucking house like on a swing set, like doing the same shit that smaller brands do.
Yeah, that leads me to a good point. If you don't mind us transitioning into that, that's one thing I had to realize when I was making the brand. Okay, so the 4 previous brands that failed. Long story short, man, I was kind of a back history of Rebel Reap when I first started. Okay, so no loans, no handouts, no mommy daddy money, no anything. Okay, I was in the mortgage industry for about 10 years. Okay, so I was using whatever money I had after the bills were paid to put back into the company. I remember one point I could barely afford 50 fucking shirts. Yeah, and I'm like, dude, are these even gonna sell? There was a couple times where I was like, hey, am I gonna pay my phone bill or am I gonna put more money into shirts? Yeah, and I chose the shirts every time, and I figured out the rest later. There was a point where when the brand first started, it was a rough transition because I was moving. So I had to move everything that I had at the time inside my house, pushing t-shirts before even anyone knew what the hell it was. Yeah. I moved it into a storage unit. I don't know if you've heard the story at all, but basically I had a 5x5 storage unit, man, and I was just pushing out t-shirts and printing them in there and then bagging them up after my 9 to 5 and then shipping them out to customers. Did that just over and over and over again every single day until it started catching on. there's so many times where I would actually give out free shit just so people can have a walking billboard of the brand and talk about it. Hey, I like this guy just randomly gave me a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it just word of mouth started spreading. A lot of people get asked even to this day, like, how'd you grow so quick? A lot of it has to do with organically liking, commenting,
playing
dude.
The Instagram game. Yeah.
Every day when I would sit in traffic going to my 9 to 5, I would ride passenger with the guy that was driving, so I would just be there on my phone, literally liking 100 photos every 30 minutes so I don't get blocked by Instagram. I would comment on maybe about 20 pictures, just being like, dude, that's a cool bike, or hey, that's a cool car, I like your t-shirt. They would start seeing the brand and follow back. I did that just for a long time, till I started understanding how Instagram ads work, and that really started boosting it up even more. But I think the main thing, anyone that's listening to this when it comes to apparel, if you don't mind me mentioning that, I just think people have the wrong mindset. A lot of people think that I'm just gonna make a t-shirt and I'm gonna sell this shit. It's gonna blow out the door.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick my feet up, just collect paycheck, buy all the coolest shit, get a brand new Sprinter van, fucking custom paint job.
Yeah.
But Fast Life Garage, But anyway, I just think everyone has this wrong idea, and social media kind of fucked that up. When we're scrolling through social media, all you see is the things that people want you to see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to be out here showing you my shit days just like anyone else, but I have them just like anyone else.
I was on that point right there. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, because my brother's always talking about he's depressed and shit. I'm like, when people feel down about themselves, if you do social media the way that most of us do, we only put the great things that are going on, or I try to put the great things. I don't try to make things great that aren't great.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you're doing it the way I do it, then I can always scroll back on my timeline and just kind of pick myself up and be like, fuck, man, like I've got to do some cool shit.
Yeah.
I've got to meet some cool people. You know what I mean? Like it for me, it sometimes can pull me out of a dark place.
Right.
You know what I mean? By being...
you look at where you were and where you're at right now, it reminds you that you put in work.
It kind of reminds me of like when I was in that spot, like, oh fuck, I remember where I was when this picture took place, and I remember what I wanted in life, and I was like, fuck, I got that 2 months ago. Yep. Like I surpassed this part of my life and now I'm here, and now I feel like I'm in a worse place than this, but it's like I should be better because I made it to where I wanted to get.
Yeah, exactly. But I know exactly what you mean, dude. I go through that shit all the fucking time. And the thing I'm starting to realize with myself and looking inward is as much as I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about minimalism when it comes to running your business. Basically, the whole concept was, are you trying to run your business to look a certain way on social media, that you look huge, just to say that you have the latest and greatest, coolest shit, or are you really doing it for yourself because you're genuinely trying to build your brand, or you're trying to build a longevity in a long-term thing?
Yeah.
And that's something I've had a battle with recently, is trying to humble myself down a little bit, because the company, dude, it's been growing so much. I can't even keep up some days. Yeah. Especially in the last few months, I have had friends, needing help. I'm like, bro, are you off this day? I need some help, like packaging some shit. Like, it's crazy right now. Or, and teaching them how to do things, because I'm so, like you said, we were talking about earlier, you're so anal about what you do. Yeah.
Not perfect.
We're
perfectionists. It doesn't create perfection all the time.
Exactly. And I hate using that word. I hate using the word entrepreneur either. It's just so fucking overplayed out. I think people get the wrong idea. But I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to the packaging and the little details that...
It's the way your brand or your business is presented.
Right.
So that packaging could mean... like when they do like unboxing and shit on
dude, that's the thing.
They do that online. Like I don't really care, but I was listening to my other buddy, that Bike and Bird, and they do that Between Two Wheels podcast.
Yeah. And
they were talking about it, how they brought this up, and it was funny because I never thought about it. And like one dude was like, I like the unboxing thing because I want to see how much they take pride in their
presentation,
in their product and presentation and everything.
It's huge. It is.
That's kind of like when you get an Apple phone and it's all fucking like, you feel like you're just opening up some Scandinavian fucking shit, like it's the future and stuff, and it's like, I don't know.
But once I realized that that's exactly what you just said, once I realized it doesn't matter if someone has 50 followers or 50,000 or 50 fucking million, I'm going to treat that person the same. You know why? Because that person who has 50 followers, you don't know who they know. You don't know if they know the biggest person in the fucking industry of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
They make one phone call and they say, this guy was an asshole, and you're fucked.
Well, the flip side to that is, right, like, you know, me being a little bit more grim on this side, it's like that one, other than like maybe a shout out and knowing that this, you know, blue check mark dude is like digging our brand or digging our services or whatever the case may be. It's like, I never get those guys reaching out to me wanting anything. Like they don't want anything unless it's for them for free,
like free shit.
Because they have their blue check and shit. And it's like, man, like, I mean, of course, I think maybe the smoke and mirrors is a lot of us look at people that have that kind of solidification, or if that's the right word, on social media. Right. It's like, fuck, they must be doing well, you know, so they can afford my paint job or a custom helmet for me. But, you know, the biggest thing I struggle with, you know, is how many people reach out wanting a custom helmet from us, and then the ones that are like big names somewhere, and they, you know, they kind of insinuate that they want me to do it for, you know, like
a discount, homie hookup,
or hey man, I know a lot of people thing. When I'm like, you know, I say this a lot in the podcast, so I'm sorry to beat the dead horse with it, but I can only handle 40, maybe 30 to 40 customers a year on painting. Yeah,
it's a lot of work, man.
And I have way more than that waiting, so I don't need help selling another helmet. You know, if I was going to sponsor somebody, I always said I would want to do it into like, you're doing something that I fucking love and think is cool, and it would mean a lot to me to see you wearing my helmet.
Yeah.
Not see you wearing my helmet and do a post for it or something like that. Like I naturally, like you're taking a picture riding somewhere and that helmet I gave you is right there. Right. That means something to me more than the whole like, you know, hey man, I'm gonna give you this helmet, so I need you know, one post a week, or I need, you know, that kind of thing. Not saying it's not a good deal.
You want them to want to do it too, so it doesn't feel like a job. Yeah. I feel like when a lot of people, like I messed up before, dude. I'll admit, I used to, you know, but you got to do it when you first start up, and no one knows who the fuck you are. You got to give away a lot of free shit just to get your name out there.
I did crackhead shit when I started.
Right, but when you get to a certain point and you start understanding your value and you start understanding you got bills to fucking pay, those homie hookups get less and less and less.
Yeah.
Now, those people who you used to fuck with and thought that they were cool with you, oh wow, he's not getting me a homie hookup. Fuck that guy. And trust me, dude, I've had that happen to me. It happens to everyone. But I think if you start doing that, it could backfire too, because a lot of people are like, this guy gave me 50% off, man, hook me up. And then their friend reaches out to you.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now you're not hooking him up. He's pissed off and he's running his mouth on social media and you didn't even fucking do anything, you know?
Yeah,
that's just how people are.
It's a fucked up life algorithm is what it is.
Yeah, it's like people have their priorities. Like, and I hate, dude, anyone who knows me personally, a lot of my friends know, I'm very big into motivation. I'm very big into self-improvement. I've done a lot of shit on myself to fix that, you know, I would never, ever say that I'm better than someone else. Yeah. But I've just done a lot of work and I understand who I am, what I am about, and people like it, cool. If they don't, fuck them. You know, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But my point is I started to understand my value and how much work goes into your paint jobs, how much work goes into the research and development of trial and error for products, testing different brands. Dude, I've tested over like 400 or 500 brands of like different t-shirts, different blends and materials, dude, that I've worn personally, and I've gotten feedback from customers. I've done all the work. You start realizing your value, just like any person listening to this. If you're a mechanic, if you're a welder, if you make custom parts, you have a certain price on your product because you know the value and hard work that went in behind it. You're not going to devalue yourself having a sale every month. Yeah. You're not going to devalue yourself saying, yo, I'm going to give a homie hookup to anyone who'll just have my shit on. Some people do that, I guess. But long term, I don't think that's really a smart move.
Well, it can devalue your product or devalue what you're having if if the market's flooded with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But everyone looks at you as that guy now that's just going to give homie hookup if you start begging enough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then you start getting you get a little bit Me Too on it. We're like, well, why can't I get that? Like, I got followers, or
right.
You know, it's a slippery slope to play.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's kind of like where you want to have transparency into like people understand the person behind your brand and the life that dude has.
Right.
But I don't really want, like, if I did a helmet for somebody, I would not want him, or I wouldn't want to tell anybody that he's a sponsored Fast Life helmet wearer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would rather just, hey man, I love what you're doing. I just would mean a lot to me to see you, if you dig it, wear this helmet that I want to paint.
Yeah,
for you.
and it's cool, man.
Yeah.
And that's on you to decide. When a
And
customer
I would,
reaches out to you and they say that shit, you're like, fuck no. Like, come on, man. But when you're reaching out and you're the one putting in the work and effort, because I understand my bike that's in there, but completely torn apart right now. Fairings, everything is just being painted by my buddy Stephen McLaughlin at McLaughlin Auto Arts out here in Arizona. I've known him for a while. You know, he's ordered some stuff through me, and I want to support him back. You know, and the way to do that, that's just how I work. You know, if people support me, I love supporting other people, and I have friends in every profession. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I like to support people back that support us. So he's painting mine right now, and he actually does all the custom paint for Buddy Stubbs and Anthem up north. So he does all the work for them, and you know, he's busy out the ass, but he's hooking me up. You know, I hooked him up, but we take care of each other. You know what I mean? And it's not just expected. You know what I mean? It was never like, yo, I know he's gonna hook me up. I'm gonna fucking go to him. You know? Well,
you know, I've talked about this with a lot of people, but business relationships, like you're a builder, I'm a painter, or you're this and I'm a this. The reason why so many things go south with builders and painters, or builders and power coaters, whatever the case may be, is that people, especially I guess it's biased on my side because I've been a painter and I've been on this end of the deal with builders. It's always one-sided business, right? It's always like, I'm bending over backwards to help you out because you think that the only thing you're doing to help me out is giving me this job. When I've had also dealt with builders and other people that I do work with where they respect me well enough to like be like, look, man, I want to make sure you're getting your money out of this. Like, is that enough for you to be comfortable with what you're doing?
Right.
They're not trying to get you to do it so cheap that they can put more in their money, their pocket.
Right.
And that's one thing I tell all these fucking big shops I talk to. I was like, look, man, like, you can create really good relationships with professional people if you treat them the way you want to be treated if you were in their shoes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's where a lot of people fuck it up, dude. They just think that they're the highest. I'm gonna ride my high horse. You treat me like royalty.
It seems like a lot of people that don't have any real skills or talent.
Oh, exactly.
You know, so like if you're not
goes back to people who know their value.
Exactly.
You know
so when
I mean?
you're a builder and you've built a brand and a name, you usually tend to have a better understanding or a better of a approach with dealing with another creator. You know.
But the thing is like my photographer Christian.
I follow dude. He's
was
badass.
alive once, dude. These are the people that I fuck with. Okay. I can count on maybe two hands people that I fuck with out of 7 billion people in this world that I can count on. You know what I mean? And I do that for a reason. Christian's one of those people. Why? Because he takes pride in his work. When he goes out, he's all business. When we're out catching up, shooting the shit, grabbing a beer, we're just catching a beer.
Yeah.
We learn to separate work from business. And I like working with him well because he takes pride in his work. He doesn't ask me, hey, how much are you going to pay me for this photo shoot? I pay him what he works with on his hourly, just like anyone else should. I pay him for full price for his time and his work that he puts into it because I value his work. You know, there was a point, a lot of people might know that we used to have a shop here in Phoenix. Okay, so we used to have a shop, I think for about 8-9 months. We had a shop in like 19th Avenue in Cactus. It's no longer here. So long story short, Christian, it'll make sense about him in a minute. Christian's part of the team, as long as with a few other people. Now I had the shop, right? It's maybe about $1,200, $1,500 after bills, utilities. People forget you got electric bills and water
all
bills.
those little small bills that add up.
You have your own shop, man. But it's different for apparel brands, especially this day and age. You don't really need that
Yeah.
You need a shop to paint. You
Yeah.
need a shop with a room, okay? That shop, first of all, was super small, and I wasn't planning on being there forever anyway. I'm looking into a new shop in 2020. If everything goes well, we'll make that happen. But we had this shop, right? This was around this time last year, was when we had our grand opening party.
Yeah.
Okay? This grand opening party blew my fucking mind, dude. And we had people, when I opened it about June last year, we had people continuously walking in enough where the shop hasn't even opened, which at 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
because self-employed, you can
Yeah.
do whatever you want. The shop opened at 11 o'clock, dude. I already had people messaging me on Instagram, hey man, I'm here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I would go out, get dressed, shower.
It's on the other side of town where it used
Yeah,
to
man,
be.
it's about 30 minutes away from here. So I used to drive, I'm like, sorry, dude, shop isn't open, but I'm gonna be right there. I get my ass up. I'm not like fucking most people that are like, well, I'm sorry, bro, you gotta fucking wait till 11.
Yeah.
I got my happy ass up, tired, slammed my coffee, went straight to the shop, helped him out. One guy, he didn't even buy anything, but it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, guess what? He came in, checked things out. He brought 4 of his friends down to the shop, and they all fucking ended up buying something. Because I'm not pushy. I'm not telling people, yo, man, you got to buy this shit.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're going to come here.
Hey, you see
I'm
this?
only
It look
coming
good
down
on
here.
you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm never like that, man. And
You're the guy putting the rose in the girl's hand and be like, oh, that's $20.
right? But anyway, back to the shop. I had to come to a realization. The grand opening party, 3 months after we opened the shop, we had a soft grand opening with a few people coming in. We hooked them up with some discounts, and as a thank you, gave them free hats for coming in. But then the grand opening party, we had Cruzy Originals down there, Gino Lenati, Joey, a bunch of guys that we know and we're cool with. They put on a stunt show. We had a lot of friends like Steve McLaughlin, Auto Arts, Blessed Apparel came out, Lane Splitters, Garage, Steady Mob. I'm dropping names right now, but I'm just trying to paint the picture for people listening. We had a good community of good people. Bonehead Inc., Blessed Apparel, they came straight from California the day prior.
I've heard of
just
Blessed
for this
Apparel,
event. Yeah, man, we did a collaboration on gloves before.
Okay.
All these guys, we came together, man. That's really what it was all about. Now, when that grand opening happened, I was maybe expecting 30, 40 people. Dude, the people showed up before it was even supposed to be happening. We had no beer, nothing going on. We ended up going down and grabbing like 4 30-packs and just loaded up. People started rolling in, bikes started lining up down the whole entire line. Stunt show started going. Smoke just flowing up. We had there was a police station maybe 2 blocks down.
Yeah.
And I told everyone, I said, guys, you see sirens and shit, like you gotta pack it up, like make it quick. I said, you guys have fun, do your thing. I want everyone to have a blast here. Then we started having like almost 100 bikes, dude, just lined up. I still have the video on my phone. I'll show you after. But man, there's just wheelies, burnouts, and there's one kid, this started getting sketchy. He pulled a wheelie, but he couldn't see behind the bars because it's at night, right? So he's just like, and we had the shop right on this busy intersection, just straight down, and then we had our shop on the corner. He shot right through the middle of the busy intersection, almost got clipped by the bike. I'm not gonna say his name on here, he knows who he is. After that, I was like, man, things have got to fucking settle down a little bit. They've been out 3 or 4 times putting on a show. Things have been a blast. I go over to Ryan. I'm like, bro, we got to shut some shit down. Literally 10 seconds later after I say shut it down and they all park in, cops rolled up.
Damn.
But they've already been out for like maybe 4, 15, 20-minute sessions straight. No cops, no nothing. They finally show up, and basically my point is that everything went smooth. Normally that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I don't normally throw on events. I don't normally go to events anymore because I know there's so much work that goes into that shit.
Yeah.
Stressing out, time and money and energy goes into making these events. But my point of telling that story is when I had the shop and I saw that turnout, that's really what opened my eyes that, okay, I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
I think people are catching on, and I didn't even promote it that much. I maybe posted it 2 or 3 times on the page.
So what do you want to do differently about this new shop?
I'm glad you asked, man. The last shop we had was maybe about 700 square feet.
Yeah.
All right. It's not that big at all. But we had wooden floors. You go in there, we had, see the artwork right there? That's all my friends who are here in Arizona, my personal friends, different friends that are tattoo artists. We had all their artwork posted on the wall. It's basically a shrine of just my friends and their badass work with their card on it to specify who did that artwork. So when people walked in, they can get business. I'm just supporting them too, you know? I bought their artwork. I want to proudly put it up and support them. We had the wooden floors, and it just looked like a tattoo / mechanic shop / vintage store, okay? So I tell you that to tell you this. If I get a new shop, it's going to be, this is how I vision it, and I'm a big person on vision. Yeah. You know, not to sound like hippie foo-foo shit, but I really am a type of person that if I picture some shit, I make it happen. Yeah. Doesn't matter how long it takes. So I vision the next shop obviously being 4 or 5 times bigger, maybe even 3. It doesn't need to be crazy big, just enough for me to store all our inventory, have a walkthrough showcase for all the products, you know, and obviously.
I mean, your brand is big enough to where I'm sure that when people come through Phoenix from traveling, like, hey man, you know, follow you time, I want to check out. Like, that's what we get, you know, too. And that's why I've been wanting to go my direction with my idea for a storefront thing. But
it's good, man. It's fun because it brings more of the personal side of the brand. But on top of that, not just the showroom, but I want to have a warehouse type area where people can, regardless if you have a bike or a car, has a motor, and you just want to come kick it someday, roll up and have a couple beers with us and just wrench on your bike, change some spark plugs.
That sounds cool, dude. Like you had just like a garage door night, like one night a week where you just open the door and just people knew, like, hey, you know what? They hang out in the back of the shop on this day a week. Like that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, man. That's exactly, you know, where I see it going. Yeah. Because for me, you know, when I get my rat rod fucking fully blown out, just 454, just beastly, that's going to happen someday, dude. I literally was about to pull the trigger. It was out in Illinois. I was about to pull the trigger on that motherfucker, but I said, you know what? Do I want the ice cream cone today, or do I want the ice cream shop tomorrow? You know, and I keep reminding myself, I can have all these fun things. I can have the show on social media. I can have the big warehouse if I wanted to. I can have the fucking badass new sprinter, or the fucking new... Not to talk shit about that stuff, dude. That's cool. If you can afford to do it and you're really all about that, do that. But if you're a small brand, I think a lot of these people, back to our story about the social media, is they get this misconstrued thing that I ain't shit unless I have all those things. No one looks at me like I'm a real brand unless I have all those things. And it's really not true.
It's almost like, why... When you provide something, you have a brand, a shirt or some type of apparel or anything, man. Like, when did it not become just about having cool shit?
Exactly.
You know?
And that's, dude, I'll tell you, when I first started, when you don't have money and you're starting a brand and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, all you're picturing is, how can I sell this shit? I'll tell you what, man. Like, when I stopped caring, there was literally a point, man, when I just like anyone, as cool as they want to think they are or not, they'll admit that there is always a point, even to this day, that people are like, am I really doing the right thing? They start questioning themselves, you know? I think anyone who's really sincere about who they are will say that's true.
I question my shit all the time.
Yeah, even to this day. But I don't think we all always have the answers. We don't always have it figured out. I'm still, to this day, trying to figure it out. That's why I don't preach, and I stopped my own podcast for a while, you know, because I stopped feeling like, you know, I'm giving all the answers to people when I don't even have all the answers myself. So that's why I put a pause on that, but I'll bring it back someday.
I kind of made a joke about the T-shirts as the SoundCloud rapper, but realistically, that's what podcasts are now.
It's
but like, it feels weird when someone's like, "Hey, dude, so what do you do, man?" I was like, "Oh, I paint bikes and I got a podcast." Okay. Okay.
But people who really understand it are the ones that listen to that and maybe in the same profession, which is very slim, but still.
Well, man, I just feel like the podcast direction is like, it's right now it's a show for a lot of people, but I feel like in the times to come, it's going to become part of the social media game we all have to play.
It will.
As a brand.
Guaranteed. That's why I started it. I started it when I didn't even know what I was doing. There's an app called Anchor for anyone listening to this. I started off on Anchor, recorded just straight on my phone, uploaded it right away, no editing, no nothing. That's why I keep it up to remind myself. Even the podcast that first started fucking sucked, dude.
Dude, mine sucked too.
But I keep them up as a reminder to show everyone too, hey, you know, you don't got to be perfect. You just got to get started.
You know, when I was always hard on myself too, and I still am, you know, to this day, but I would tell my friends, like, fuck, man, like, I just sound like a dumbass on these things all the time. And they're like, go listen to old Joe Rogan shit. And I was like, man, all right. Well, so I tried to. I went back and I started listening to it on the computer or on like your headphones or something. It's different. I started watching the videos, and I think he sucked back then, dude. Like he would do shit like he would always try to turn things into jokes. You know, like conversations. He would try to like put some kind of pun in it or
right,
joke.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, and I was like, man, like, you're fucking up this conversation, man. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I got it. So you learn these things over time, you know what I mean? And I still fuck up, but you know.
Right. And that goes into anything. And you're not going to come straight out the gate and be the best bike builder. You're not going to be the, you know, tear down a fucking V8 engine. You're not going to come straight out the gate and have the best apparel, be the best painter, dude. It takes skill, time, effort, energy, learning.
You just got to outlive the best painters, and then you could be
that too. But you know, it goes back into I'm not going to mention any brands, but obviously that's the area that I'm in. I've seen a lot of brands fall off, man, because they're just, for one, maybe just impatient. They think, you know, for anyone listening to this, I know we're an apparel brand. We're still growing. We have a lot more work to do. One thing I want to hone in for anyone listening to this, and you have a small brand, if you have 200 followers, dude, we all start at zero. We all fucking suck in the beginning. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just keep at it and keep learning. That's it. I get people messaging me, I want to say maybe not daily, but at least once or twice a week. These small brands that say coming soon in their bio, you know, apparel brand coming soon. Hey bro, you got any tips or tricks? Can you tell me where you get your supplier? Can you know, like I'm supposed to sit here and hand out that information that took me almost 3 years now into this to find out myself. If I give you that information, just like you tell someone how to paint something hand by hand, if you give them that information straight out the gate, you think you're helping them, but long term you're really not.
That's
because
a good point.
They're not going to value, for one, the information because they haven't learned it themselves, and two, it's just going to go one ear out the other.
That's, you know, it perfectly correlates to the same way when I try to help everybody I can, but the question you ask me lets me know where you're at in the process.
Right.
And so if you ask me a question and I know you're on this part of the process, so I know, okay, he's tried this, and this, and this. It didn't work. Now he's just looking for something. He's put in, I can, by your question, I can tell you put in effort. I'm more like, okay, well, try it this way. You know, I'll give him that.
Tweak
but
it
if it's like, you know, the vague, hey man, how do I custom paint?
Right.
Hey man, how do I do Silverleaf? Not like, hey man, you know, when you're doing Silverleaf and like this one part that's like right here, like what?
And this angle, if you're doing it this way,
That's the question that I want to answer.
Exactly.
Because I can probably answer that question with one word. B, I don't have to write a fucking you know, the other way, like answering like, how do I do Silverleaf? Now I got to sit here and explain this whole process.
Yeah.
You know, like, dude, like,
and cross your fingers that this guy actually listens to what you're saying and you didn't waste your fucking time.
Well, he might listen to it, but you know what's going to happen? In 4 months or in 4 days or 4 hours after he tries it, he's going to then maybe comes back and asks me the right question.
Right.
You know, and there's YouTube, there's too much.
Oh my God, there's way too much information. I felt so bad for this guy that messaged me, I want to say, last week. He straight out the gate, dude. He's just like, hey, where do you get your supplier through gloves? You're like, who's your guy that makes your gloves? And I'm like, I felt bad, man. I really want to help this guy. Like, I know he needs help. I messaged him and I said, you know what, man? I think it's more valuable if you learn and order whoever you can get your supplier through. You order, instead of giving him the straight answer, I helped him out and said this, okay? Just like you do for t-shirts, anything. I say you pick 3 or 4 suppliers, you don't know how their quality is. You order, you're spending money.
Yeah.
This is the part where you're putting skin in the game.
Yeah.
You're spending money to buy samples that have cost like 3 or 4 times more than what they should be regular price.
Yeah.
To learn, okay, is this guy good? Good. Is this guy better? Oh, he is better. Throw that one in the garbage. Okay, is this new guy, is he better than the last one? No? Okay, well, I'm gonna keep this one. And then you just cycle through that over and over until you get the best shit. And that's kind of really what we've developed in today, trying to get the best products. And that's the goal, is not just to make mediocre shit. The direction that I want the brand to go is to more of like the premium stuff. You know, not everyone's going to be able to afford that, but now we got payment plans for people that have had issues. Because I listen to my customers. They say, dude, I want your shit, but I just
don't
can't.
they got that 100-day same as cash like website thing?
Well, there's a website we have implemented now called Sezzle. So like Canadian customers who were a big market of ours, you know, Canada, California, Texas, New York, dude, pretty much all the big cities all over in the US is mainly what our market is. We got sporadically, you know, here and there from different states, but that's mainly where our market is. So what we're trying to do is implement a way that everyone, no matter what your budget is, you can afford to get your shit.
Is that the beer?
Probably.
Cool.
Grab it.
They got a beer delivery service here in Phoenix. It's pretty fucking cool. So he ordered some Dos Equis for us. Day drinking podcast. That's cool.
All right.
Hell yeah, brother.
So, are we still live?
Yeah.
So I ordered for those. Damn, man. It's not as cold.
That's fine.
I ordered a beer because I knew you were into drinking beers, man. You know, I didn't have any in the house and my bike's down, so I said, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna order some. Through Instacart.
That's weird. Like, it's crazy.
Even the lady who just dropped it off, she was like, yeah, I've never done this before. And I'm like, okay, cool.
A whole bunch of virgins.
Damn, man, where's
Just to the side.
Oh, okay. But anyway, what were we talking about before she rudely interrupted us bringing us beer?
I don't know, man.
Oh, we were talking about payment plans and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we don't have to get too much into that, but the main reason for doing it is to show customers, you know, we're listening to you guys. I know things cost money.
Yeah.
You know, and just like everyone else and everything else. But we're trying to make things more affordable, because if you're going to be in the premium industry, you got to make things somewhat affordable for people, because not everyone's going to have that kind of money up front.
Yeah, you're going to be like
basically
Ed Hardy coming out with $70 t-shirts.
Yeah, dude, but I never want to be up to that point. I'm not as cool as you to be able to do it that way. So.
Well, you don't have a beer belly, so I guess you don't get to drinking as much as I do.
I actually, dude, I used to drink a lot, man. Have you ever done intermittent fasting?
Yeah, I've done the keto and the fasting thing multiple times. I've lost weight, and this is pure alcoholism excuses that they probably teach you how to avoid in like the 12-step program.
Yeah.
But dude, my life is so social. You know what I mean? It really is. So it's like sometimes the beer kind of knocks down a little bit of the anxiety or whatever. I really don't think it's anxiety, but just all the fucking static going on all the time.
Right.
But then there's like this window of like perfect buzz that I'm like I'm fucking just skating along, and then you get past it and I turn into a dick.
Yeah, man. Well, there's a certain point that you reach, and I realized that for myself too long ago. But I'm not really a drinker per se.
Yeah.
I just like this. You know, I haven't probably had a Dos Equis in a week. That's a joke. But seriously, you know, I do it through social just like you.
Yeah.
But I probably maybe have 2 or 3.
I mean, fuck, dude. Me and Brian from Pain Huffer last night, we went and had fucking some Tucci bar or some shit like that. And
Tucci bar?
Yeah, something like that. It's good hamburger and stuff like that. And had a couple beers, and then we did a podcast afterwards. But I'm trying not to like drink, like kill that 12-pack on a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like we did the last one we did with Jeff Holt and Motor Witch and those guys when they were in Dallas. Like that one went okay, but I think Jeff and Danny carried it. I just started getting louder and you know.
Oh yeah, no, I listened to that one towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, the only reason why I ordered a 12-pack is because those motherfuckers at Instacart, you got to get at least $10 minimum to get it to be able to ship to you. So fuckers got me. I was going to get us to 6, but whatever.
But no, I mean, I don't know. I tried to do the weed thing, but I could smoke all day long, but I'm done with everything once I smoke. You know what I mean? Like I just can't function, and I'm too much of a
I'm not
I guess
social.
Control freak.
Yeah.
With everything, the way I
get quiet, dude.
Yeah.
I don't like someone's talking to me, they're trying to pour their heart out. I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck because right now I'm way too high to listen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not really a smoke a lot either type person, but on special occasions, like have a cigar, maybe light up a little bit, you know, just in moderation. I think everything's key.
Yeah. Yeah, like I did the keto thing, man, and I lose weight.
It works.
Shit. Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
And then the fasting thing helps too and shit. It's just like I said, man, it's not necessarily my bike night that I host, but I do what I can to get people to come, and I enjoy going.
Right.
Just like we talked about the parking lot meetups. I look forward to that shit.
Yeah,
it's just
fun.
The new way we do it, and it's all my best friends are there, and they're all having a beer. And I'm just like, fuck, I just want to taste that sweet nectar. You know what I mean?
Well, it's different, man. Like where were we? We were, my girlfriend, she's kind of like really into, you know, I won't say she's hippie, but you get what I'm saying. Like she's real
My wife is
into doing fun shit. What's her name, Britta?
Yeah. So
okay, cool.
She was texting me on the way over here, and she's like, fuck. You know, because I fuck with her too about all that woo-woo shit she does.
I know. Well, you saw the painting out there, right?
Yeah.
She's an artist, you know,
Yeah,
and you know
that's
how,
dope. Yeah.
right, she paints for professionally.
She says she's saging the house right now.
Oh, dude, did you see the incense we have at their front too? Yes.
Incest or incense?
Well, maybe I fucked that up. You see what happens after I have a half a beer, man?
Yeah.
I'm already fucking talking shit. But anyway, we went to Great Skate, all right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a skating rink, old 70s style.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we went there, man, and first thing I did when all our friends showed up, we're just, you know, throwing our skates on, and I'm like, I need a beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Went up to the lady, and I was like, you guys have any beer here? And she looked around, she's like, do you know where you are? And there's like 5-year-old kids, and they're roller skates, and I was like, shit, it'd be so much more fun if we were out here drinking beer, and all our friends were skating around having a good time, but... Anyway.
That's a business.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, man, you guys could probably get so much more because these parents have to deal with all these kids running around.
Get a picture.
Yeah, seriously. But,
yeah, man, it's I don't know. But
do you do shows? Do you go to events?
You know, I was just having a conversation with my buddy Mark from Texas Performance about this. Is that, you know, he's been doing the show thing where he goes and sets up booths at all these shows. Yeah. And you just don't get anything from them, you know? Like,
I'm glad you said that because I know a lot of people listening right now, you're with it or you're not.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're on the same page.
So when you go set up at a show, you don't get to be the guy at the show and having a good time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so when Mark would set up, he would go set up his booth and he'd be there talking, you know, to people and doing the business thing. And he'd always have my banner. We'd always share most of the time he just pays for it, and then it's our place to hang out, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
When you're riding bikes and you're doing all this shit, I'm into bikes, period. Like, that's my hobby. Mm-hmm. So when some show's going on, I want to go to the show to party.
Yeah.
Which is probably not the best thing because that's where I get the most mouthy and the most drunk and shit. But I enjoy that part. And if I had to go to those shows and be a professional all day long, I don't think I would enjoy... I'm cutting out something that I enjoy experiencing. Right. You know, for the sake of selling, 5 shirts maybe?
I feel you on that, man. I'm glad you feel the same way because I did shows, you know, when we first started. You know, I have a pretty badass tent. You know, we got a pretty badass setup now, you know, and we could do shows. I got people from different states hitting us up all the time. Hey, we're doing this poker run. Hey, we're doing this veteran run. You know, a lot of our supporters are vets, you know, and on the page, and you know, we do a military discount, so in case you guys are messaging about that. But anyway, we like to take care of the vets, you know, so they're always messaging us saying, hey, we're throwing on this event. There's an event actually on October 5th, I believe, at the Hideaway Grill. For those listening, you should go up there and help them support for a good cause. And this time, just like you said, I just stopped doing events because shout out to Miguel again at Lane Splitters. He's the one that put me on my first show. And like I said, dude, I'm more of the person that's out there trying to meet people. I felt this is taking away the fun out of what I'm trying to do here. I like the social aspect of people coming up to the tent and talking, but you know what I did? I wasn't like, yo, this is $20 for a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's hard to be a business guy there.
I said, man, everyone that came up, I gave out more shit than I actually sold anything. And I'm cool with that. I met a lot of people. If I really liked them and they enjoyed the conversation, I just hand them a free shirt and a free hat.
Yeah.
My buddies who were in the tent with me, they were looking at me like, bro, what are you doing? You're just giving away free shit. And I'm like, that's not what all this is about. You know, it's more of trying to build connections with people, and that meant more to me. So I stopped going to shows because it costs too much for one.
Well, you know, when you go to these shows, man, like, I mean, I'm in Dallas, so me going to Born Free on my bike, it ain't that expensive.
Yeah.
Me going to Born Free in a fucking truck with maybe a bike to show off and a tent product like that's an expense plus the booth's expense. And so now I have to clear $5,000 or $3,000 to break even.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, well, I could just go there and I could be there and I can, you know, show everybody like the ride and the experience of doing this shit. Mm-hmm. Get there, shake some hands, you know, sign some titties, you know, never happens, but maybe one day I'll get to. And then buy the shit online. And, you know, if I was selling something, you know what I mean? Like, just go to my website or whatever and order a shirt.
See, that's what I'm thinking, man. Like, I would love to go to Born Free. I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, man, you going to be at Born Free this year? I've been myself 2 years in a row. Not this past year, but the 2 years prior. I went there myself, you know, with a few friends and just walked around, met people. You know, it was cool meeting people who didn't even know who the fuck Rebel Reaper was, and they were, you know, one dude was wearing my shirt. That was enough for me to be like, this is cool.
That's got to be cool to see.
You know what I mean? And once I saw that, you know, and I thought about it, and I'm like, man, I would love to be a vendor out here, but just like you said, you know, from Phoenix to California might be a little bit cheaper than you.
Yeah.
But here's an example. Simi Valley Harley Davidson out in California. Yeah. We did an event last June.
Is it Simi Valley or Top Rocker? Which one? Is there two of them over there?
Well...
Oh, yeah, Simi Valley's a little bit further inland.
Top Rocker in California?
Yeah, Top Rocker is over there in Chatsworth.
Okay. I see Manny Cruz. It was always down there all the time. But I'm going to... My point is I'm going to Bell Brawl October 5th in Las Vegas, so I'll be out there for that. I like going to the events. Mm-hmm. Okay, I like to be the person out there meeting people, shaking hands, and saying what's up. I don't like to be the show person. Yeah. For the brand, as cool as it is selling shit, you know, I like to have fun. So I'm going out there for that. But what was I talking about? I was talking about.
I mean, realistically, if you think about it, man, like if you ride to these events and you know, you take some videos and some pictures, and you stop at some cool spots, do your Instagram stories, you create a lot of content on that trip that like connects you with your audience.
That's why
in a much better way than, not saying that you're not as authentic if you're in a truck and trailer and doing it that way, but you know, literally this is part of the conversation I had with Shope before. It's like you gotta understand, like you think of all these big names like Yaffe and Shope and all these events and trailers and shit. They might have started riding bikes like we did, but their businesses got so big and they became a slave to the rallies to where they didn't get to go to rallies. Put it like this, they got to go to rallies and they had a different experience that none of us could ever understand. Right. You know, their rally experience was a party within a party and this and that, and they found enjoyment in it. You know what I mean? Like it's because a lot
you had to back then. You didn't have social media to sell shit on Spotify or Shopify. You know what I mean? It wasn't as easy as 2 clicks. Amazon shipping, you know, right next day. You got to beat people in person.
Sinister Wheel up in NorCal. Yeah. You know, I designed a wheel from a couple years ago, and you know we've been good friends ever since. And I'd see him at like Daytona or Galveston or something every once in a while. And we were talking once. He's like, "Yeah, you know, to be right here in Daytona, it was $16,000 for the vendor spot for his truck, so he can sell wheels and put them on."
You better dish out some wheels.
Daytona, NorCal. He had to drive a semi from there to there.
The gas,
Then pay the $16,000 plus the driver, plus the employees he's putting on their payroll to do the work. Like, it's a $24,000 break even point. Yeah. And selling wheels.
That's crazy, man.
Could you imagine if you had $24,000 to put into other forms of advertising now? And that's why rallies are having a hard time, you know, Sturgis is one of the most amazing places to ever go.
I was supposed to go, dude, but shit, we were so busy here, I couldn't.
But more people are getting out of the hustle and bustle of being an actual vendor at these places.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
you want to meet the face of the brand. I feel like a lot of people, you know, when you're trying to make a brand, I think a lot of people should be more emphasize on showing your face. You know, I think a lot of people. I do a lot of live videos.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people relate
I
to me.
suck at that.
I had to get over it, dude, because I'm like, I like building trust with people. I want them to understand who I am before they buy my shit.
Yeah.
I want them to see where I'm coming from, you know, before pulling the trigger, and I get that because I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
If I support a brand, I want to know who the fuck's behind the brand.
Yeah.
I want to know if they're the same type of guy like me, or if they're just some moocher that's trying to sell some shit and fucking make a quick buck and dip.
Yeah.
Which we've all seen.
Vultures.
But anyway, yeah, back to Simi Valley Harley Davidson. Dude, I was at that event. Do you know Danny Ruthless or Chase Isn't Cool? You met these other guys, Stunt Carnell, like all these stunt riders out there. I came mainly for them, you know, and I loved the event. Simi Valley, Mark, the manager out there, really cool guy. I met a lot of really cool people. There was customers that came up to the booth wearing my shit.
Yeah.
Again, I've done shows. I've done events. I've paid the dues on that. Could I pay a little bit more dues? Sure, like anyone else could. But I literally, the point of me telling you the stories, I wasn't even behind the booth. 90% of the time, I was out there watching the guys stunt riding, shaking hands, meeting people. Hey, you're Matt from El Reaper, huh? You know, and getting to know those people in the pits, in the trenches, seeing who they are, understanding them, what they want in clothing. I was more into that, dude. And when I got back to my booth, anytime I was there, like I said, the first show, I was basically t-shirts. They cost, I was handing them out for $5.
Yeah.
Some $10. You know, I said, do you want 2 hats? 2 for $10. I'm just trying to get the name out there, man.
Yeah.
I'm not out there to try to make the quickest buck that I can. I actually lost money going out there, all the gas and energy and time,
exactly.
For a one-day event. But it was fun. It was a good experience. But I just don't do events anymore. That's what I was trying to make the point.
I get it, man. Like you just got to find value, and just like when you listen or you look into all these different ways of marketing and pushing your brand and your business and your place in this industry.
Uh-huh.
You gotta. People have a tendency to follow what other people have done and it's worked for them.
Right.
And there's probably some of that does work and does help, but. For us, we're the paint shop. I mean, I've built bikes, but we're the paint shop that rides bikes more than bike building shops do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, is that so different? Like, how is that an oddity?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you would think, like, maybe 15, 20 years ago, it wouldn't be. But now, like, people get so wrapped up in the business of it. It's almost like, are you still into bikes or are you just into being in business?
Yeah, and that's the part that I'm starting to realize again. Like, we only have 100% of, like, just imagine, I heard a good analogy. Imagine a pie. Mm-hmm. Okay, your life is a pie. You got 100% energy throughout the day. You wake up, for me, 25% of my energy immediately answering emails, DMs overnight, people asking about sizing, returns on products, anything. I'm messaging them. 25% of my energy for the day is gone just in that first half, making sure that's taken care of first thing. Now I got 75% energy left. Where am I going to delegate this energy towards the day to make sure tomorrow I don't have to worry about it, or I'm moving one step closer to where I want to be?
Yeah.
And that's the part that I've really battled with personally recently, is trying to understand, where do I want to push the brand? I know the direction it wants to go. But it's really hard, for a lot of us to have so much energy in the day and try to get to where we want to be. That's the point I'm trying to make,
Yeah, you kind of hit a nail on the head there. A lot of, like, a job being a customer service person. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
I'm looking for someone.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard, dude. Like, for you... answering questions, doing the emails, doing this stuff, and being that customer service person, like, I've had someone tell me that I had horrible customer service once, and I was like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's because I am in an industry where I'm like, I'm not trying to be a customer service guy. I'm trying to do badass artworart.
Right.
Faggot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Let me do my thing. What I'm paid to do.
Don't
here.
Walmart me, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that. But, I know that if I was ever to step into selling some shirts or things like that I wouldn't be able to have that same attitude towards someone that wants to, you know what I mean? Like someone spending $1,500 for a helmet.
Yeah.
It's almost like they'll take that shit,
Yeah,
right? But
right,
someone
right.
spending $20 on a t-shirt, they're like, dude, you're not going to talk to me that way.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
exactly. It's like, but that's the thing though. In my mentality personally, when it comes to customer service, dude, that's above anything. And I feel, because I know for a fact I've been a customer of other brands. I'm not going to mention any, but not just in our industry, but brands all around the world. I've bought their shit, and the way they treated me, that's really kind of what inspired me to want to start my own thing. Is how can I make a brand where it's basically a big middle finger to fucking anyone who's treated me like shit as a customer, and I'm gonna do the complete flip opposite and treat every customer like gold.
Yeah.
And that's how I get return customers, and that's how you build the brands. And I think I hear horror stories about people get so excited just the fact that I message them back.
Yeah.
Or I email them back. They're so excited. I'm like, you just sent me an email an hour ago. I'm already replying to you, and they're so excited about it. I'm like, damn, that must say a lot about how people are running their companies are out there. And that's really what separates, I think, us from some, I'm not saying we're the best shit, but that's just something I take seriously.
Yeah, part of that whole customer service thing, it really is a, like I said, I don't want to sit here and be a dick about it, but yeah, that's something I do have to work on, you know what I mean? As far as like trying to be better at that stuff,
I'm going to take them outside.
Oh, puppy needs some love.
And I swear to God. Sorry, very unprofessional.
No, it's all good.
What were we talking about again?
Just how shitty of a customer service I am. No, that's something I'm going to work on, because we have been wanting to, we get asked a lot too, because we don't sell anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like our cheapest items are like $1,500.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, if I had a t-shirt, which you would
You
think.
should, man. And if you need someone to be able to do that, I have a guy here that can do. This is the first time we've met each other, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the difference of how I run my company and how other people. A lot of people out there are the type of dude that's like, I'm trying to build the tallest skyscraper and focus on my own shit and help other people build skyscrapers. Or you're the guy who's trying to build a skyscraper and
hold
tear
everyone
everyone else down.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the guy who's trying to tear everyone else down, you ain't going to be around a long time.
That's why, like, when we took this podcast up, is we wanted to shed light on painters and things like that, because
You should, man.
a lot of people don't realize, a lot of older guys in this industry don't realize that they cannot provide service, products, or parts for everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
And so for people to act like they're the only ones that do good, it's kind of like you're kind of fucking yourself there.
Yeah.
Like, let people pick you based on your style and your what you put out there and shit like that, and not so much on, I'm the best one out there. This guy's cool, but his shit's fucking PC compared to mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of shit isn't cool.
And that's something I've had to deal with too, man. Like when you're making something, you're putting your heart and soul into something, and you're saying, I got the best shit ever. I have to pull myself back sometimes, because I'm like, I don't know anyone really, at least as far as our industry and what we're doing as far as our style, is really doing selvage and denim, and that's kind of really the direction I'm trying to bring the brand.
Yeah.
I've personally been a big fan of denim, and that's something I don't always want to be a t-shirt and hat guy.
Yeah,
Okay?
but I mean that's the catalyst, is creating the new opportunities.
Right,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
that's finally, literally 3 years later, getting to that point where I can actually focus and hone in on the products that I've worked really hard to try to build. That's what we're trying to push towards, and I think just people get lost back into the whole social media thing. And
well, it's good and bad, because the way, and I keep bringing this up in these recent podcasts, but the tribalism of people, the tribalism is like great when everybody's on your team.
Yep.
But I'm not trying to compete with another painter. You know what I mean? And that's what we've been trying to put out there. But I've had
you shouldn't have to though.
Yeah,
it sucks, man. Like, why can you imagine you had and whoever you consider the top 5 painters, all sitting around this table right here, and you all collectively came together and say, hey man, I've been doing this for X amount of years. You guys have 150 years, of experience, put together a one table.
Yeah.
How can we come up with the most insane, flaky type paint job? I don't know nothing about paint, dude.
Yeah, it's all good.
How can we all collectively come together as a community and build something that's even more badass, best one coat paint. I don't know what you want to think about.
I don't think that like the innovation of the products is important, but the
Just an
innovation
example,
of the way like having painters together and having any kind of build. Like when you see a city where all the builders or all the shops are all cool with each other, they all work together
Small
because
town.
they're not insecure with their shit.
Yep.
And that's one big thing is like people don't realize that your business can show insecurity.
Oh yeah.
And that's unattractive just as much as it is if you were a chick or a dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when your customers are like hearing you talk like, you know, in the insecure way about another shop that did something cool instead of saying, yeah, dude, that bike you did was badass.
Mm-hmm.
If you're worried about your customer going over there because that one bike, that might not have been, you know, first off, we don't live in that world anymore where customers are like the most loyal people in the world and they would never go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Me as a painter, I don't do a lot of styles that other guys do.
Right. And you said before that you recommend if someone wants a
Yeah.
certain style, you say go to this painter.
So instead of me being a dick or not a dick, but just me being someone that expects my customers to only use me, if they like my style and they want to keep getting paint jobs in my style, then fuck yeah, dude, let's do it. But man, if you get to where you want like scroll leaf and shit everywhere, that's not my thing, man.
Right.
You want graffiti on your bike? I don't want to do that shit. I'm not a graffiti artist.
Yep.
So
And that's
I can't-
understandable. Dude.
I can't be insecure because this one dude went over there, especially when I'm looking at my schedule and I'm booked for the next 3 months. Why am I being an insecure little bitch about this one job?
Well, it's another tip too is if you are the guy who says I know everything, I can do everything, and you really can't, you're gonna get called out real quick. And two, you're spreading yourself thin because if you want to be the guy who's the best pinstriper, and you put all your time and energy in the best pinstriper, guess who around the block or all around the world is going to be talking about, I know the guy who's pinstriper.
Yeah.
Instead of, 100% of your energy into the energy thing again. Pinstriping, you start doing,
I say this about everything. It's like,
you're spreading yourself thin is what I'm trying to say.
like that's how I grew up in this industry because we had to know how to do a little bit of everything to get by. And, I'm secretly jealous on certain people, not in a bad way, but like I look at certain painters, I'm like, fuck, man, that dude just kills it on airbrush. Mm-hmm. But he's also just an airbrush guy.
Yeah.
So he spent thousands of hours honing that one skill when, I had to do things my way. So I always tell people like, look, I am not the best airbrush, graphic, pinstripe, painter. I'm not even close to the best.
Right.
But I'm one of the best at doing all that shit.
Yeah.
Putting all that together and doing it just one person, but still, like if you hone out my pinstriping or hone out my airbrush and you put it up against masters, it's not there.
Right. And that's good for you to be able to admit that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that they have to be the best at shit, and that's really what holds them back.
Yeah.
If you really understand, I'm not the best at this. I'm not the best guy who does denim in the world. I'm not the best guy who does the pinstriping in the world. And you humble yourself, you open yourself for the possibility to learn that, which further expands your knowledge. And
one of the best ways to think
growth
about it is that if you realize that there are so many more people in this world that are way more skilled at certain things that you may be doing, but the one thing is when you know for sure that you put 100% of your ability into the jobs and the opportunities that you get.
Yep.
And those are the kind of things that you can walk away with some sense of pride, arrogance, or, cockiness. I'm not the best, but I fucking killed that shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, I get messages from people who wear some of the vests or the products that we have, the Kevlar jeans. A dude just took a spill when he was standing on his bike, trying to do combos, and he fucking ate shit. And he said, dude, thank God for your Kevlar jeans. They saved me. And from getting road rash. Same guy with the shoulder on his vest that he had, man. And even a guy who messaged me on it, I don't know, maybe he didn't land properly on the t-shirt, but he's like, dude, because I wore your t-shirt, it didn't even eat through and it saved my skin. And I'm like, you know what I mean? But just hearing shit that people are excited about the product, back to your point, they're excited and proud about the product that you have because you've skilled and honed in on doing that and delivering a quality product to them. You get some sense of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like pride that you took the time and energy to learn and develop that.
One of the things, and you might get this, you might have got this when you did your podcast a lot, but when people reach out because of podcasts, like listening to your story or somebody's story, like, dude, like, man, this podcast like changed, dude. I just want to take a trip now. I want to build a bike. I want to do this, and it's like,
yeah,
fuck, dude, like that's awesome, man. Like,
Yeah,
you never know what to say though. Like,
right?
you never know.
You never do.
You know, like,
And because I mean,
and I'm a joker, so I'm like, good luck, bro. You know what I mean?
you never know what to say because you think about it every day, and that's just your life.
Yeah.
You know, that's like me telling someone about, you know, man, I'm trying to think of different analogies that I haven't used already before, but I do get people that message me and get super excited about products and hold on a second. Jesus Christ. Oh, so.
Dog daddy.
Yep. So anyway, I want to ask you, you ask all the questions, right? I want to ask you, what's your plan for, I'd say, you know, I don't want to use the next 5 years, but what's the whole point of this? You explained it to me earlier on the podcast. I think reiterating it to the people here.
You know, like I have goals and dreams, you know, but the older I get and the more I do things in this industry, the more adult shit comes along and it kind of slows down the process. That's why I'm hard on my brother. Like, dude, you have your 20s and your youth right now where if you just kind of get some of this dumbass youth shit out of your way and just think a little bit like a 30-year-old, you can make some real shit happen in your life.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, I've been dealing with, like, the IRS for the last year and a half. And it's not, like, a lot of money. Like,
Right.
I don't owe them a lot. Like, it's nothing I can't handle. But
I got a good CPA if you need one.
owing the IRS money is, like, it's not like I can log in and see how much I owe left on my Harley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird fucking world of somebody that can literally decide today that they just want to shut all your accounts down.
Yep.
You know?
No, it can happen. It's scary.
So
shit,
literally, I'm just waiting on some things to like happen in that world so that I can start doing other things. Like I'm literally been living on hold for like 8 months now, waiting on to find out what the fuck's going on with all this shit.
I feel you on that.
You know? And so same reason I haven't bought a shirt. I haven't invested any money in anything else to start in any other areas. But I do want to have a store, like a studio, a storefront, a place that people can come and see. I don't want to paint full time anymore, but I do want to paint still.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, man. Like I'm trying not to be a hippie, dude. I'm trying not to be some dude that just wants to jump on my bike and go live off the road. But there's a part of that that's fucking just romantic as fuck, and I want that. But there's also something, you know, the part of me that really wants something to say that I've built something.
Yep.
Something that people use and like and need. I don't know what's going to happen with podcasts. I mean,
I think, you know, I want to reiterate real quick for everyone listening. I think people really underestimate how much work that goes into this podcast.
yeah.
I definitely commend you for all the work and energy and time
Thank
that you
you.
put into this shit, dude. Because I know personally how much this setup costs. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't cheap. And to take the time and energy to be able to do this with people in the industry and bring us all to kind of together. You know, every time I listen to your podcast or any other relative podcast, I kind of just, when I'm working on the bike or the car or whatever, I throw this shit on, dude. And I just like listening to it. I like to hear other people's stories. I think it's a really good thing, you know?
Yeah, it's cool. It's one of those weird things because it costs a lot of money, like you said. I mean, compared to like, I mean, I have an FXR laying on the table. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, didn't someone give it to you or?
No, I got one now. My buddy let me trade him a couple helmet paint jobs, but I mean, this laptop, this computer, this thing right here, this and all my little setup, it literally is like almost $4,000 worth of shit.
Yeah, and bikes aren't any cheaper.
Yeah, and so if you take $4,000 and you put it into like apparel, like you can get a return.
A good return on that. Yeah.
So it's one of those things, you know. He's restless.
So, yeah, it is definitely one of those things.
But you know the hard part about it is that because it is a free thing, you know, that people can listen to for free. It's a weird convincing thing where you have to try to convince them to want to.
Well, you guys have a Patreon, though, right?
We do.
That's good, and you guys deserve every single penny that goes into that. That's the point I'm trying to make for people listening right now. Yeah, you're getting free content. But I want people to understand, too, that I'm in your shoes. I've been there. I know what it's like, and you're not getting paid to do this. Sometimes you get a little unmotivated to want to do that.
Yeah.
I think people think it's wrong to be like, hey, we all got fucking bills.
Yeah.
And as cool as I want to do this for my whole life and not get paid for it, there's going to come a point in time where you're questioning yourself. You're like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah. If I wouldn't have set up the Patreon, if I wouldn't have took on sponsors that either have paid me with product or money, then those times that I did feel like, fuck, man, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have probably stopped.
Yeah. And
But
I'm glad
that payment or that obligation to a Patreon supporter or a sponsor is like, fuck, man, like my word and my reputation for doing what I say I'm going to do means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
because you're putting, the effort and time and energy into this, it
Yeah.
means you're putting less time and energy into the stuff that's making you money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the part that I got to commend. And
it just sucks because it doesn't suck, but I mean, I can understand maybe from the outside looking in that it looks like a life that other people want to live. And that's obviously my fault for not showing all the dark parts or the shitty parts of my life. That isn't really something I'm not embarrassed about them. You know what I mean? Because I also don't put myself out there like I'm balling out of control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, same here, man.
But
I could easily do that. Like I said, I could get the big shop. I can get the cool car. I can get the fucking everything. Like, pull the trigger tomorrow if you want to do that. But I'm really, why do I need that shit, for one?
Yeah.
And two, I'm not putting on a show for anything. And I think a lot of people in the brand, they understand and they relate to it because I've shared a lot of the dark shit that no one talks about.
Yeah.
And like yourself, you said you don't share too much of the dark side. That's the whole reason of why I brought the last 10 minutes up. Why are you doing this? Because
I think it's a condition that I have, right? Because my dad's side of the family, they're rich, and my mom's side of the family is just your working class kind of people, right? And I grew up way more attached to my mom's side, so I could go to my grandparents any day and talk about my problems or my struggles normally. And when I would try to carry that relationship to my other side of the family, it always,
because they don't understand,
Well, they always took it as like, okay, he's asking for money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I never.
They
could
don't
have
understand the bigger picture of what you're
doing. And I feel like a lot of times I think of that, and it makes me like not want to share too much of my downfalls or my hardships because I don't want to ask for a handout in a sense of like, my life's falling apart and this and that. My tax shit is my fucking fault.
Right.
I'm not mad at the universe and I can't catch a break even though I feel like that all the time. I understand that is my fault.
Right.
My lack of discipline and knowing and taking care of those things, and they catch up.
Well, that's the first step is you got to admit it. I mean,
that's,
you can go ahead and fix it. There's nothing you can do right now. You just got to take it day by day to fix it.
But, like when it comes to these podcasts and stuff, it's like, one of the things that I saw a lot of people doing, and like Danger Dan does this podcast, and he's fucking killing it, man. He's doing a great job. He's not an industry guy. He's just a cool motherfucker, and he can go and he's gotten himself in fucking Rolling Sands. You know what I mean? Like had a podcast with him. Like that's dope. I literally just used my own connection or like stature, I guess, in the industry, and just, hey man, got a podcast now if you want to do one. And you're like, oh yeah, of course, Jason. I already knew all these fucking people. A lot of them, at least. Like I've done work with Shope forever, and a lot of these listeners might not know who Shope is, but
he's one of the biggest motherfuckers in here in Arizona.
So, I just tried to capitalize. I just played to my audience. You know what I mean?
No, I understand, man, and that's the thing. Back to sharing the dark side, I used to be kind of embarrassed about printing t-shirts and storage unit, 5x5 storage unit. I never shared that for the first 2 years, just up until the last year. And that's really when I stopped giving a fuck, dude. I'm like, do people like it or not? I don't really care.
Do you think you get more shade thrown on you from being that guy or being the guy that's like fucking doing well finally?
I think finally, to be honest with you, if anyone is willing to share their dark side, if anyone's willing to share their personal shit, that scene in 8 Mile, when Eminem was talking shit about himself and Papa Doc was fucking about to just destroy him, and he roasted himself anyway. He was just, exactly just like that. If I'm the type of person that can just be open about who I am, I feel like more people will relate to that than the guy who has it all and shows it off and balls the fuck out. They're gonna relate as far as the masses, the guy who's just a normal dude just like them and has struggles and bullshit that they have to fucking deal with on a daily basis. That's where I started understanding, and that's why I started sharing it more. And the messages that I get from people, dude, I've got people messaging me, they're like, you know, because of you, I've started my own clothing brand. And I'm like, dude, congrats, that's good.
Yeah.
Not even bullshitting. I mean, they're not asking for anything, but they just say, hey, I just want to let you know because of listening to your podcast when I had it. Or,
when you think about the massive amounts of people, man, like it gets hard. Like I'm fortunate in the sense, like I said, we were talking about like scrolling back and look. It's like I'm fortunate because I got to do this paint thing. I got to do this and build these bikes and doing everything I have. I'm fortunate, and I'm kind of disconnected from that guy who might be listening to this and is like driving to work, like hating his job and hating his life or whatever the case may be. He's like, he doesn't have an outlet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he doesn't have the time to go learn how to paint or learn how to be, a videographer or any of these things that look interesting. You know, he might have the time if he figures it out, but, you know, just on surface value, he might feel trapped.
And that's the thing, dude. I had a conversation. A guy was messaging me. I think his name was Egbert something on Instagram. I posted on my personal Instagram a lot more personal shit than I share on the brand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have my personal life on my personal page, and then I have the brand on the brand.
I got
page.
all my high school friends that I haven't talked to in 20 years on my personal page, so I'm putting nothing on that.
So they have no fucking...
I'm trying to be balling on that page.
I barely post on my personal, but when I do,
Yeah.
it hits home with a lot of people because they see the face behind the brand now. They understand it, the story behind it. And I keep it private because there's a lot of fucking clowns out there that don't like knowing my personal shit. But anyway, I posted something a few days back. I haven't got up to drive and go get coffee, which for my girlfriend and her kid, I went and go get them some Dutch Bros. You know, I just drove down the street and people were driving like fucking maniacs, dude. 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, almost got hit 3 times. People just not paying attention, zombie mode. There's a lot of people that listen to podcasts that aren't paying attention to the road. That I have an issue with people who, don't take this the wrong way for anyone listening, but if you're the type of person that like I used to be, listening to podcasts or reading books, and you're not doing anything with that knowledge, you're like a success zombie, and you're not really putting any action to putting that into your own personal life, who the fuck are you fooling? You got to be real with yourself for a minute and say there's only so many fucking books or podcasts you listen to that's saying the same shit, where you just have to put into action the work, and that's literally it, man.
You know, the other thing that I've been talking about, you know, with a lot of people about is that there's so much shit out there to teach you how to be, you know, the better, the success, the, you know, double down, you know, all this shit, right? Yeah. And it's almost like hate your job kind of culture.
Yep.
When, you know, I was talking with another guy yesterday, and I said this, and I think he agreed. It was like, why not try to be the best fucking dude at your job first? Mm-hmm. Outwork your opportunity at your job and see if you have what it takes to do that before you think that you can go start a business.
Be the guy that's good at doing that certain thing.
The one thing that you have to be able to do to be self-employed is you have to be able to solve problems.
Oh, yeah.
And if you work in some job, no matter what whoops, too many beers. If you work at a job where you have, maybe that's the reason why you want to be self-employed, because you have a job that doesn't allow you to challenge your mind or solve a problem. But there's a job in that field, in that place somewhere that might do that.
You see, though, it's hard to explain that to someone who's never thought about that, though.
Yeah.
Me, as crazy as it fucking sounds, I'll share a little bit of a dark side about me. The way I grew up, man, it might not be like sunshine and rainbows just like anyone else, and I'm not going to play a pity party. But me, I thrive off the worst fucking conditions and shit that can ever happen in my life. When I had negative $700 in the bank account years ago, when I was just a fucking degenerate shithead who thought partying was more than paying rent, and I was about to get fucking evicted, you know, and all that shit, back when I was like just an asshole, man. You know, that's times where you realize, okay, I have to nut up and fucking step up and be a man and take care of shit. I've learned a lot through really hard struggles. So anyone listening to this, if you feel like you're in a hard spot, you're never permanently there. You can always go back to a job. You know, you just got to take that leap of faith, give it a shot, stick with it day in and day out, and not give up. That's really it, dude. And again, back to me is I thrive off negativity. I thrive off shit talking. I thrive off people trying to bring me down. There's no better motivator for me than when someone talks shit that I have a vision in my mind, not just knocking them out, but knocking them out with my words, where literally it gets to the point where I'm so good at doing what I do, they have nothing else to say.
Yeah.
And I'm so open about myself and my brand and my life that
You're
there's
a
nothing anyone can say.
championship argumenter.
Exactly. Exactly. But you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? It's hard to explain that to people who are always the woe is me type crowd.
You know, I posted something on my social media. I don't know if it was, I think it was my actual shop one the other day, and it was like 11 years self-employed, not 11 years total. I mean, that's just consecutively. I've been self-employed times before that, but 11 years in this run, and, you know, I still don't have a lot of things that someone's going to work right now has, and they hate their life.
Yeah.
And, you know, and a lot of people are like, well, you don't have to be in a shithole every day. I'm like, look, man, let me tell you something about being self-employed.
Yeah.
There's nothing scarier than being somewhere and getting older and having nothing.
Yep.
You know, like
everything you're doing is putting back into what you're trying to build.
Not saying don't do it, and I'm not saying I'm quitting. I'm saying that it is fucking scary.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I don't think it's wrong to be like, you know, fuck, man, like those things that when you're 25 or 28 or even 35, you don't give a shit about, like, oh fuck, you know, I'm not dying anytime soon. I don't need to worry about retirement or 401k, or I'm fucking healthy as shit. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think about those things.
Yep.
You know, I don't fucking have dental insurance. That's why I got fucked up teeth. You know what I mean? And yeah, I could probably maybe not buy a bike or do my bike shit and maybe put it towards that, but I don't get paid by having straight teeth. You know what I mean? I get paid by having cool fucking bikes.
Right.
So it's you're putting back in the business to where you know you can keep those checks coming.
Right.
And I could be a dumbass with my ideas, but it's just a place that is I only know how to be self-employed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can't go back to working a day job. I was literally talking to my girlfriend the other day. We were driving in the car, and I was like, I just randomly, dude, because that's how my brain works.
Yeah.
I just think of some shit, and I splurt it out, and she so happens to be there. I just randomly said, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do if I go back to a day job.
Yeah.
Because, for one, I'm not a good person at taking orders. I like to think outside the box. I like to be creative. You know,
Yeah,
that's
so
why I love this.
I've always said that if I could work for somebody if I respect the company
or what they're doing
and what I'm doing. If I don't respect those two things, I could never be the type of employee that I know that I could be.
And that's why a lot of people are depressed, angry, sad, pissed off at the world, because they don't realize that. They just realize I need a paycheck and I need something to survive. And that's understandable, dude. You got to do what you got to do. But since we're on the self-employment talk, and a lot of people listening to this, they're either self-employed or they're not. One thing I had to realize when I stopped doing my podcast, they're always, hoorah, fuck yeah, go all in. You got to, you know what I mean? I stopped doing that because realistically, I felt bad for a lot of people that didn't understand where I was coming from. And I felt like I was pushing them to quit their jobs. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine. We were sitting out in the back right there. He runs his own company, SMC Vinyl Works. He does, obviously not paint, but he does the vinyl.
Yeah, like the wraps and shit.
Yeah. So we had later an hour conversation. And the guy sitting next to him, he knew him. He was just listening in on us talk, and we were just nonstop talking. And I said, dude, do you ever feel bad? Like, you know, some of your friends, you try to motivate them, but they won't listen. And, you know, I said, I stopped doing that because I think people put their happiness on a grayscale of looking on social media and seeing what everyone else has, showing the highlight reels. They don't show the real shit. And it fucks up everyone's mentality of, I'm not successful. Dude, if you're happy making $50,000 a year as a customer service rep, and you have your family's happy, you got your dog, you know, you go home and you really enjoy life, and you truly can look in the mirror and say, I'm happy with life. Don't be that person who thinks the only way to be successful is to have all that shit or to be self-employed. It's not for everyone.
When you leave the shop or you do anything, when you're self-employed, you're never off work.
Never.
You know, and you're almost like you mentioned earlier, like, oh, I get to go in at 11, I'm self-employed.
That was a joke.
I mean, yeah. But it's I mean, I go in at 10, you know, and that's because once the world goes to sleep, I get to just not be at work.
Right.
So I'm a night owl. Like I'll stay up and watch movies or Netflix or YouTube fucking videos for hours, or I'll hang out with my wife, or I'll have some, I'll draw, just all these different things. And that's one of the things. Like I recently connected with a friend that I grew up with since 5th grade. We were inseparable a lot of our years, but we are the best. Like if you made a documentary on this subject, we two are the best people to put at it, because he went to trade school, or like a ITT Tech, like one of those kind of like career development kind of colleges. It still costs like 20 something grand. And then he got a good job right afterwards, and he's been working there for almost 20 years now. He's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in 401k. He just bought his second house. I mean, he bought a house, made a shit ton of money selling it, because he got it when the '08 crisis hit.
Right.
I graduated in '01, so that was 7 years, or 7 years before all that shit happened. So a lot of us got through college and started in careers. And then, like we rekindled, like, because I've been trying to go back to work out more and like play basketball, and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, man, you should come over sometime, man. Every night, man, I like smoke meat and like do like that kind of shit. And I'm like, dude, I barely have time to make a bowl of cereal.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not fat because of anything other than sometimes that Whataburger is fast, easy, and I can get back to work.
That's true.
And it sucks, man. Like
I'm supposed to be a big dude, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But the whole fasting thing, that's what keeps me in check. So I get it.
So seeing him and seeing his success, he might not see it or feel like it's success, but as a self-employed guy, I'm like, fuck, man.
I think I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, when they think success, they just think the big house, the fancy shit.
He don't have a lot of followers on Instagram,
and you don't have to.
He doesn't have to.
But the thing is it. I personally have heard it from someone else. Have you heard of Andy Frisella or like the Gary V's and those guys? I kind of pulled myself back from listening to them and kind of I take some of what they say, you know what I mean, and chunks and
with
pieces.
With a grain of salt, basically.
With a grain of salt, man. But at the end of the day, all that matters is what you experience and how you handle it. That's it. So my point in telling me that is I try not to judge myself on what other people are doing too. I used to. I'll admit that. I used to judge my business based off of, fuck, man, I don't have this and that. But again, everyone wants to show you the highlight reels. They don't show you the struggle, the everyday bullshit that you have to fucking deal with, man. And it is a lot of work. And and I know you don't measure yourself to your buddy or anything like that, but
no, I'm jealous as fuck, man.
My buddy who I was talking about out there, we were chit-chatting about his company. Dude, he makes more as we met in the mortgage industry. He's a mortgage broker, okay? Those guys make fucking bank. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year easily. He now works part-time, just enough to actually make money to fulfill the company and build that up.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get stuck because they're used to an everyday paycheck, biweekly. They're like, fuck, man, this is comfortable. I'm cool. My best friend that I've known almost 10 years now straight since I moved out here in Arizona. He talks about all the time, man, I want to start my own thing. And I try to give him tips on how to do it. Just some people don't want to do it. They're not ready. And he finally admitted after years, he's just like, dude, I'm comfortable with a paycheck. And I said, I am not holding that against you, man.
Yeah.
If that's what you're cool with and you're happy with that, just don't come at me anymore. Like, that's how cool I am with my friends. We're so straight up and honest with each other. I said, don't fucking bitch about me, about your job when you come home from work and you hate it. I said, you might have bad days, man, but when you're bringing those negative vibes to me, I don't go bitching about my shit. And I just put out like 10 fires today, dude.
Yeah.
So it's pick and choose, man. It's just some people want to put a smoke screen and think that life is cool. But they really hate it. And I'm just like, dude, just take that jump, give it a shot. You can always go back.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I try to tell people that as well. Like, if you're into art, you're into like a lot of things that you can do your job, and you can do this shit on the side and fulfill some type of void of being creative or being successful at something.
Yep.
But when you have a job and you have a paycheck, you also usually have time off.
Yeah.
it's scheduled. Like you go to 9 to 5. Some people might have those jobs.
Off, yep.
So you have this exact amount of time that you can plan to do other things.
You know what I had, dude? Like one of my other best friends too. I've known him maybe 7 years. He was a roommate of mine while I was working Rebel Reaper in the early days.
Yeah.
He didn't understand. Some people don't. Are we good on time?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't understand why I would come home after working the 9 to 5 fucking every day, Monday through Friday, and go straight to doing orders. Not that I had a shit ton at that time, but I had enough where it kept me busy.
Yeah.
And I would cut out, dude, and press each and every single shirt one by one. And that took a lot of time. And he would come in hey man, let's go grab a beer. Like, dude, you see what I'm doing? I'm balls deep in fucking orders right now. I got to get this shit done, you know? And I'm not the type to, hey, get an order, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to ship it out.
Yeah.
And that's one little tip on a side note for anyone listening. If you're running your business, if you're running your own company, you will get so much further in life if you have something, an email, a DM, something pop up, you immediately handle that shit and you get it done out of the way. You don't have to worry about it later.
Yeah.
People will notice that and they'll pick up on it and they'll want to support you even further. But a side note, back to him, he would always, dude, one day he blew up on me. He was like, what the fuck are you doing with your life, dude? You're just in here printing out t-shirts. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're losing friends. And I said, you know what? If I'm losing friends, fuck those friends, dude.
Yeah.
Because you know what? A lot of people are afraid of that shit. They're afraid of losing their friends when they go out and do something for themselves. I guarantee you, man, I've met more solid quality friends now doing what I do now than I had before. And that's something that every single person experiences. Builder, painter, apparel, self-employed, anything, everyone experiences that. I just wanted to share this dark part that a lot of people go through and they feel guilty because they're trying to make something more of themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel you guys, if you're listening, like, that's some real shit. You just got to fight through it, man. You'll find quality people later on.
Yeah, you were kind of mentioning something else. It's like sometimes I feel like some people are more in love with the idea of being self-employed than the idea that's going to make them self-employed.
Right. And can you tell why I'm really, like, my tone of voice has changed? Because it's seriously such pissing me off how everyone paints it a certain way, like the Gary V's and, you know, all these foo-foo entrepreneur guys. That try to push
if everybody and their fucking mom is selling something, then all those systems work. The email list, this, that. You're selling, you know?
Right.
That's how those dudes are becoming millionaires, because when you sell things, we know like your story, like with printing and doing these things and getting orders out.
Right.
That's a sell, but it's also on top of the labor involved with each shirt.
Yeah.
Now, if each shirt was being made and produced somewhere else, and then you have boxes and all your whole day is to like move these, then that becomes more profitable because of the time. But you know, that's how you grow and scale the business.
But that's finally where it's getting to, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is everyone has this misconception. I'm only talking on apparel because when you post this episode, I'm sure a lot of people who are brands, they want something they can probably relate to. So I'm just being real with you right now. What I'm saying, stop fucking measuring your success on other people's success. Mm-hmm. I feel bad for people that message me and they're like, dude, you're moving so much shit. And to me, I mean, back then, dude, I thought the same. I was like, man, selling 10 shirts in a week, I was like, I'm fucking balling.
Yeah.
You know, and 10 shirts now is like a day minimum plus other products. But it's like, now that I'm moving that much that quick, another thing, if you're in apparel, don't put so much into one product. You know, spread it out, test the market.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Understand who your market is, and then, I hate using that word, double down, but really push that product, take care of your people, and that's really it. Repeat that every day. It gets boring, but I hate how people paint it as like it's so easy. You know, it's someone pissed me off the other day. We had dinner, I'd say the other month. They were like, dude, all you do is like throw shit in a bag and ship it out to people. And I'm like, it's like, I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're trying to sell something to someone, especially online, it's really hard because, for one, you want those people to understand who you are and what the brand represents. No one's going to want to wear your shit if they don't even know what the fuck it means.
Some people don't take into consideration the mental thing that goes on and how that applies to work itself.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you're when your CPU is going at fucking 80% all the time because you're processing all these things and physically doing the physical labor of things, it's a lot. It might look on the surface, it's like that iceberg analogy. Like on the surface, this looks easy.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know what the fuck's going on in this head to keep this operating and keep it innovative and keep it, just evolving. You know what I mean? Like that's the hard shit you can't explain.
One thing I've had to learn myself is to recently step back from the business. Dude, the company, like I said before, is growing so dramatically where I'm like, I need help. I'm already looking into a customer service rep just to handle the fucking emails and DMs that people come in. I have to take a step back and realize what I'm doing this for too. I look at my girlfriend, I look at her kid, I look at our future, what we want. Sometimes I have to take a step back and remind myself that it's a lot more than just trying to move product and sell shit. So that's really something that I've had to deal with, and I'm sure a lot of people, if you're listening, you have to deal with it too. But it's hard to separate yourself when you have such solid goals on where you want your future to be, to take yourself out of that seat for a moment and live in kind of what's going on in the present moment, Have you ever read the book Purple Cow by Seth Godin? Real good.
What's it about?
Basically, the whole concept, I'm not going to tell the whole entire story. Just imagine if you're driving down the road, an empty field, you're on your way from here to Texas, just a long empty field. All you see is cows everywhere you go.
Yeah.
The whole concept of the purple cow is when you're driving down this whole entire road, you see a cow, you're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's a cool cow. That's a brown one. Oh, that's cool. Now you're going miles and miles and miles, and you see out of the distance, you see something looking purple. You're like, what the fuck is that? So you drive a little bit closer you get, and you're like, that's a purple cow.
Yeah.
The whole concept of that is everything else looks the same, everywhere around you.
Yeah.
All these brands look the same. This is where my mind started to change. I'm trying to paint a picture for the brand and the purple cow. All these brands look the fucking same. How can I separate myself from everyone else around me in a certain way on how I do business and how I handle my customers, the customer service and everything? How can I make my brand look like the purple cow that everyone's like, that's the coolest brand that I fucking want to rep? That's the shit that I want. And I feel like if everyone just switches their gear and stop looking at themselves as an egotistical, big dick swinging motherfucker, and you just take a step back and you say, how can I focus on my product and my customers? That's really what matters, and that's what's going to kind of separate yourself from everyone else.
I agree.
It was a great book, dude. If you have time to read it.
Who was it again?
Seth Godin.
Seth Godin. It sounds familiar. The
it's
name.
like $7 on Amazon, man. I even got it, dude. You can. I got books out the ass. I don't know if you noticed out there.
Oh yeah.
I read a lot of books, but
yeah, I do audiobooks because
you just don't have time these days.
When I read, dude, I go to sleep. Oh. It's like watching documentaries. Like, fuck, I want to learn about planet Earth, and then you put it on and you're like, fuck, man,
I'm pretty sure.
Out,
I have ADD, or is it ADHD?
Something like that.
I'm pretty sure I have that for sure. Because when it comes to reading books or trying to focus on one thing, my brain's already on the next. So
it would suck. I've read a couple books in my life, but what would suck is like when I would continue to try to read more, when you would like literally be going through the motions of reading and then your mind clicks somewhere else and you're reading and you're like, and then you get to the page, you're like, fuck.
That's what I have.
What happened?
But what I started to do is I would, because of that, try this. If you read a book, read only 10 pages at a time. 10, 15 pages max. Because once you pass that, I forgot what they call it or some scientific term, but when I read it, it made sense. Your brain just, like you said, clicks off and it starts thinking of other shit. So, small little intervals. Eventually you'll read it. But you'll probably forget what the last 10 pages you wrote prior.
So what do you think moving forward? I mean, you talked about doing the new shop next year. So you're going to try to like be present at events, but in just a individual form?
Yeah, like I said, I'll be at Bell Brawl October 5th. Main reason why I want to go out there is I'm friends with a lot of the stunt riders in the industry and a lot of people that have been very supportive. They've never asked for free shit. They've never asked for anything. They actually buy my stuff. They actually rep it and wear it. So I'd love to support them too. Anytime they have an event that's really not too far, I like going out and support. So I think I'm going to do more events now that the company's kind of semi on autopilot, where it's picking up enough where I can take 2 days off and then come home, bust ass, knock all the orders out. And my customers, luckily, are really understanding about that. So Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that and focus more on like the premium selvage denim. I really want the brand to transition more into that style.
Yeah.
More of the vintage clothing and how we can push more of that kind of stuff. You know, as much as I love doing like leathers and vests and stuff like that, I'm really not the leather and vest guy. Espinal leathers, you know, those are the guys, you know, if you really want stupendous shit, you really want one of a kind stuff, hit up those guys, you know.
Yeah.
I love doing products that I wear, and I just want to sell products that I personally wear, my friends wear, and stuff that'll keep you safe.
Yeah.
You know, and focus more maybe on the Kevlar stuff, and that's where I see it going. And as far as the shop, yes, you know, I want more of a hangout spot where people, your car, you just need a tune up, dude. I got all the tools for you. Come on in. You just bring your shit. We'll work on it together and just hang out.
That's awesome.
You know, that's where I see it. I'm not trying to make buku crazy bucks, dude, and have Ferraris out front of my fucking shop. But
I'm not either, man, but I'll fucking take it, though.
I'm not saying I'm gonna like hate on it, but
I can't wait to get rich and be like, fuck all y'all, I'm out.
yeah, I mean, maybe someday, but I don't know. Right now,
I've always said, man, if something I ever did got to where I became a millionaire or some shit, or made that kind of money in a short amount of time, there's no way that I would not do more of what I already do, because I do love what I do. I do love riding.
Right.
I do love doing podcasts. I do love painting bikes, but I would just do it more, or get a bigger, more fruitful experience doing it.
you
know
ever
what I mean?
ask yourself why?
Which part? Why?
Well, I know the answer why, because I'm the same way. Is I think when a lot of people go into trying to do something that they want to do with their lives, they try to line up all their ducks in a perfect line. They try to save up the money, you know, to make the leap. It's never going to be the right time.
No.
You know, and the point I'm trying to make is if you try to line it up and try to be perfectly right, it's never going to end up the same way. You know, when we have drops that happen on products, dude, most of those days I'm running around like a chicken with my fucking head cut off trying to make sure it's going perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing ever goes according to plan. And stop comparing yourself to other people. That's just...
It's like having a baby, man. Like, nobody really fucking plans for those goddamn things.
Oh, yeah. And this little potato pops out and...
But the thing is that they force you to fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, like going back earlier, when you start doing things, trying to be your own boss, you have to be the best at figuring things out.
Yeah.
That's
it.
That's the job.
Solving issues.
You know?
You be the guy.
If you're the guy at your job that always has to ask for help or how to do this or how do I fix this, entrepreneurship's not you, bro.
Yeah. And
you know
be
what I mean?
okay with that, though. Like,
Yeah.
be okay with that. You're
Work
not...
on being good at that.
Yes.
Like, that's step one. I said this in the last podcast, if you can't be a good employee, you're not going to be able to be a good boss.
Fuck yeah, dude. And that's something I...
Because you don't know what to be. You don't know what to expect from somebody, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it might be hard to be a good employee at certain jobs, but be on time.
Yeah.
Put effort into it. Show focus and energy and enthusiasm for the work that you do, because it that saying of like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
true.
believe that, man.
Yeah.
You
Well, the
might
skills you're learning in your day job,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to apply in your future self-employed job if you decide to go that route.
I was explaining that to my brother, and I don't know if he got it, but I was like, you got to understand, like, I understand you don't like sanding parts. That's not a fun job. But there's still a level of detail and skill that if you do that here, it's in your DNA that anything you touch, you're going to do that.
Yep.
So you think in your head, because you like music more, that you put more into that. Like, you think you're being what I need you to be for the sanding on the music.
Right.
But are you? Do you think like you cut a little corners here and there just because it's part of your nature? You know what I mean?
But that's
I'm not trying to talk shit about it. I'm just saying.
No, I get what you're saying. It's like the point of trying to start at the bottom. There's so many benefits when you start from ground zero and you're not given a handout.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people, there's a guy who's messaging me too. I get messages all the time. That's why I'm able to relate some of this stuff to people and they understand. You don't want to be that guy that has everything out the gate. You know, you don't want to be the guy that's handed $10,000 to start a company and you don't know how to fucking even do the production. You don't even understand the packaging. You don't even understand shipping. You don't understand anything. There's so many benefits. I want to wrap it up. I know you probably...
No, I'm just watching these
okay.
numbers.
But I want to make this real quick to people that there's so many benefits that go into the fact if you have nothing at all. I know a lot of reasons why people are held back is because they don't have shit. they don't have the money, they don't have the finances, they don't have the resources or help, you will be so much beneficial long term. Because get this, dude, let me move into my point. If I were to lose Rebel Reaper tomorrow, if Instagram shut down, and anyone listening, hopefully this humbles you a little bit, Instagram could be taken away any day. Then what are you?
Yeah.
You're really not shit. I'm not shit, and no one's
I'm not
shit.
shit, yeah.
Exactly. They take that away, dude. Your dick swinging capabilities anywhere you fucking go is really not going to be that fruitful anymore. So first of all, humble yourself on that. Second off, when you start with zero, if you lose everything, like if I lost the page and they just said, you know what, fuck Rebel Reaper, we're going to delete their shit. Mm-hmm. Cool, thanks Instagram. Then what I'm going to do the next day, I'm going to start a new page. And you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start doing the same exact thing as I did in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Networking, commenting, liking people. Obviously now we're at a point where if I lost the page and it can kind of build itself back
quickly,
up.
Yeah.
But that's the point I want to try to make with people is if you do it that way, you learn the hard lessons first and you do it all yourself without looking for the handouts or easy way, you'll be able to rebuild so much quicker if you lose it all.
Yeah, I mean, if you bought a page that was like a big titty repost page, and then you turned it into like, oh, well, I'm the new fucking hanger in town or the new exhaust company, then like your audience is like, what the fuck, man? Like, where did I start following this guy? Like, I don't even like motorcycles. You know what I mean?
And dude, I know someone who did that.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm not gonna talk about them at all. I told it to their face. They know. They bought another page, and I said, dude, how much did you buy that for? And they're like, dude, if I told you, you'd throw up. I wanted to fucking throw up. They're like $20,000, dude. And I'm like, holy shit. You know how much you can do with 20? Do you give me that 20 grand today? I'll fucking turn it 200 grand here within a fucking year. You know, I don't know, man. And that's the point I'm trying to make with the easy route.
That sucks when all the dumb people get money, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you can. I can make so much more with that shit, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. I guess tell everybody your Rebel Reaper. Like, where can they go check out all your shit, websites and stuff like that?
Well, I appreciate you guys listening to all my bullshit. I know I ramble a lot. I used to have my own podcast, so don't blame me for that. But anyway, we're at www.rebelreaper.com. We do specialize in selvage denim jeans, products, vests, jackets, t-shirts, pretty much everything. We're trying to move back into the Kevlar so we can protect people on the road. That's another thing. We got gloves. We're working on leather gloves coming out this year.
Nice.
You know, there's a lot of really good things. Working into some soft goods for auto parts and like bike parts, like handlebar bags and stuff like that. I don't want to spill too much information, but it's R&D.
It's a growing company.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really good things that are coming in for the future. I don't want to spill too much because I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but there's a lot of really good growth and opportunities and expansions with other brands. We're doing a collaboration with Sporty Mob. I don't know if you're familiar with them. And, you know, a lot of these other small brands that didn't have a chance or anyone like I did in the beginning, I want to help them and grow the community.
Yeah, I mean, if you like fuck with the Sporty Mob and like the Sportster crowd in general,
I mean, that's where I started too. You know?
I mean, I started on a Sportster too, but like that's the crowd that like, you know, it's the diehards. You know, like
they're like hardcore, like fuck the Dynas, dude. Now I got a Dyna and shit. So I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie.
You could play to that audience, and you could probably do well with anything. Somebody's showing us love, It's like Rusty Butcher, I guess you'd say.
Right, but I love any bike, any car, anything with a motor, dude. So I love it all, and I'm not gonna judge you. You know, if you're a certain crowd. If you fuck with Rebel Reaper, we're all about the music, tattoo culture, and come down and see my sister actually at Living Canvas Tattoo. She's a tattoo artist down there. So,
well, sweet, man. I appreciate you doing this, and
thanks for the long outro.
Fuck. This is podcast number 2 today. I got 2 more.
Yeah. He's been busting ass, man. Support the Patreon.
There you go. Thank you. Peace.
Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time talking with Matt. He had a little crazy ass dog running around. You probably heard we had to stop a couple times to attend to him, but that's what happens when you do these podcasts, man. They're right there on the spot in houses and garages and shops and campsites, and you know it's what makes it authentic, I guess you could say. But thank you again, Matt. Really appreciate it. I also want to thank my sponsors, Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram and SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com. Dream Rides John on Instagram and TeamDreamRides.com. Use FastLife at checkout for 10% off. Kevin at Big Bear Choppers on Instagram and bigbearperformance.com. Don't forget, you can give him a call at 909-478-7788. Let him tell you about all the great products they have. Also, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and painthuffer.com and Fast Life at checkout for 10% off. Thundermax EFI on Instagram and shoptmax.com. Also, Lexan Moto on Instagram and lexanmotorcycle.com and Fast Life at checkout for 15% off. Thank you guys for joining us again. We will be back on Thursday with Mike Porum from CMP. Look him up. He's a beast. He's a good friend of mine, and finally having him on here, and really excited to release this podcast. So you guys have a good week. We'll see you back in a couple days.